and welcome to Advantage in Paradise for another night of fun D&D, TTRPG excitement. We had a very, very, very exciting session last week with a lot of different things happening, a lot of drama, a lot of intensity, and we ended at somewhat at the peak of that. We'll jump in sort of as our heroes are deciding what they would like to do next. But I'll get into that in the recap. For now, before
Turn down the music just a wee bit.
Yeah.
Also, Mike, Sean, are you in the right mic on your normal settings? Because you sound very far away, very distant.
Come back, Sean.
How about now?
Oh yeah, that's so much better.
Yeah, it was literally just my mic was right here, and now
You're
it's here.
a fool.
Come back,
You're
Sean.
a fool.
So,
We had a lot of tech issues today, folks.
yeah, guys,
already,
this has been a strange
kudos.
first 15 minutes of Paradise.
What else is new, right?
When it comes to tech stuff, thank you for being patient. Before I,
Jesus Christ, Clayton.
as Clayton just knocked something over in Wiswick fashion. Anyway, our ambiance is brought to us by Sirenscape, and our music comes from a combination of Filmstro and Soundstripe.com. So I'll turn it over to Shannon now to give us our social media and partner shoutouts.
All right, so I apologize for the delay, friends. That was my fault. My microphone decided to just not work, so might sound a little different tonight. Stream partners, we have 3, and I announced our new one last night on the Power Hour, and I will announce it again tonight. First, we have Talon and Claw. They are the creator of gorgeous wooden tabletop accessories. They have DM screens, dice vaults, like so. 4 of us. A bunch of us have these here at Paradice, and we love them. If you use the code Paradice, you can get 10% off of your very own dice. And if you haven't already, make sure to check out their Pride Dice Vaults on their Etsy shop, as well as their Twitch channel. They play a lot of Sea of Thieves, and I've popped in a couple times. It's a lot of fun. Next, we would like to shout out and say thank you to Arcane Spectacles. They are the creator of beautiful spell trackers and other TTRPG accessories. They are our second official partner, and just like with Town and Claw, if you use the code Paradise, you can get 10% off any item in their Etsy shop. They are getting ready to release a 10 spell slot vault as well as a spell tracker for Pathfinder 2e, so make sure you check out their Twitter and check out their Etsy shop. Our newest partner is the Underground Oracle. We just partnered with Jess and Keith of the Underground Oracle Publishing. They are the creators of incredible D&D 5e supplements. Cal uses their Prongs of the Black Sword in our campaign, and we can't wait to incorporate even more of their awesome supplements. They have just partnered with Shard Tabletop to bring their materials to your virtual tabletops. You can sign up for free during Shard's beta and gain access to their D&D supplements for your virtual tabletop. They also have a brand new Discord, and there's a lot of cool people on there. So if you're not in there already, go check it out. The link is in their Twitter profile. Last but not least, on our lovely waiting screen, you saw art by Eddie York. He has done all of the portraits for all of our heroes of this campaign, and they are just absolutely stunning. I absolutely love seeing everybody all together, and Eddie is so professional and incredibly talented. So thank you, Ed, for your gorgeous work. We're so, so proud. And I'm done.
Thank you, Shannon.
You're
for
welcome.
those partner shoutouts.
You're welcome.
All right, I can see that we've already reached level 4 hype train. Before I've even
Holy
begun
crap.
my recap.
Chat, you're amazing.
All right. Let's jump right into it, folks. Last we met, you, the heroes of Maginset, had settled into your stay at the Grace and Duchess Tavern in the Stormspire Circle District of Oranshire. In the midst of a midday meal, you heard whispers of the state of affairs. The Outerstead districts outside the Tempest Keep are too dangerous to tread at night alone. The Abbey of the Upper Flame is encroaching on the local traditions of the Stormlord. and the Highland Butchers further their control of the city streets. Before you could truly settle, Scarlet was alerted to a figure she found familiar. She darted after him, followed by Wiswick. They pursued through the sewers against the advice of Timber until they found themselves in the blighted row in the gap. Here they tread carefully amongst the shantytown webbed against 5 large wooden structures. One with a scale and coins on the sign, another with crossed swords, the third with needle and thread, the next with a butcher's knife, and the last said the amber thistle. The street was wide, but the tenements clung to the sides of these warehouse-like structures, much like coral. The trickle of the riverside filled the air with lapping waters and wind. Scarlet made her way toward the amber thistle, following the figure Wiswick close behind. As she made her way in, she found herself caught in the main hall. The figure, her old friend and accomplice, Silas, from before her time in the Crimson Court, entered the room with the figure only known as Erdwulf Thatcher, leader of the Highland Butchers in this region. Thatcher used this opportunity to extract information from Scarlet and Silas about their time together, but also to taunt her, as we had learned in this moment of another name for Scarlet, Rowan. He used this name to taunt Scarlet in either an attempt to manipulate or torture her, as he discovered her old affiliations to the court and Silas. He took his cue to reveal in that moment that he held Caleb, Scarlet's former partner and a Crimson Court assassin, prisoner in a pitted cage beneath a fighting ring that was at the center of this long hall. Amused by her pain, Thatcher pressed her further about why she had come here. Begging for Caleb's freedom, Thatcher devised a cruel compromise. Scarlet must choose to kill either Caleb or Silas in exchange for the other's freedom from Thatcher. All during this time, Wiswick had begun sneaking up into the room, invisible, and particularly towards a set of glass cases in the back of the room filled with artifacts, his eyes particularly on one that held a pallid mask, much like the one you had seen in Tressek's. Although this one had different designs on the face, it did not look exactly the same, but undoubtedly one of these masks. In an instant, after much discussion, Scarlet launched herself at Thatcher with her daggers, not believing him, attempting to call a bluff, but without any hesitation, he slid his own knife across her old friend Silas's throat. Scarlet paused only for a moment before resuming her assault. Wiswick used this opportunity to shatter the glass around the pallid mask, triggering a fireball trap that erupted over the room, sending flames and scorch marks scattering about. The scuffle below between Thatcher and Scarlet continued through the bouts of flames, seemingly not hurting her, as 4 guards came up from the pits below and pulled Scarlet off of Thatcher. Before Erdwulf Thatcher could proceed with whatever his plans were, Wiswick revealed himself holding the pallid mask held tight in a piece of cloth. He entered a brief negotiation with Thatcher at this point that eventually led to an exchange for the mask. Wiswick could leave with one person, but not both Scarlet and Caleb. He ultimately chose Caleb for his own reasons. He delivered the mask to Thatcher with a warning of its nefarious evils, who reached out and took the mask barehanded with no cloth between him and the mask. They dragged Caleb's body out for Wiswick, and as he left, he told Scarlet that she was dead to him. Alone on the streets, tears welling in his eyes, Wiswick transmuted Caleb to a salamander and fled the blighted row. Inside, Thatcher had his guards toss Scarlet down into the same pitted cell that held Caleb. The fall wounded and already hurt Scarlet, ultimately breaking her leg as she crashed down at the base and hardly able to stand through the pain. Wiswick found his compatriots and in an overwhelmed state tried to tell them what had happened. The panicked cries of what happened melted into a strange interrogation of the now revealed Caleb. Using the divine magic of Ilyuvania, Curon was able to wrestle his mind from the enchanting magic of the Crimson Court's indoctrination. In this exchange, you learned that he was sent to kill Scarlet by the court, but that he wouldn't because of their past together. Furthermore, you learned that he was tasked with the assassination of 3 other individuals: Erdwulf Thatcher, General Aldrich Kinsley, someone known as Arlen. With further pressing, it was revealed through the difficult, mumbling words of Caleb that Erdwulf Thatcher was indeed Scarlet's lost brother, Rhys, and that they were one and the same. With this news, you began to hatch a plan to get into the Blighted Road tonight to attempt to rescue the captured Scarlet, and potentially kill her brother. At this time, Cal begins to scour the streets for Druffle, your urchin friend. Once he found him, he informed him, with Silver, to keep an eye out for any kidnappings in the area, particularly transportation of individuals with bright red hair, and that there would be more money if he could track them and tell Cal where they ended up. Druffle promised he would do his best with his 2 friends, Thomas and Tommy. As Cal returned to the tavern, he realized quickly he was being followed. With a swift, stealthy attack, he knocked this stalker unconscious and brought him back to the tavern, posing as a drunkard. Questioning the man, you discovered much of what you already knew of the Gap. But more importantly, you discovered that the figure you only knew as Fletcher, the original kidnapper of Rhys, Scarlet's brother, would be in the city within 2 days, and that he does not get along with Erdwulf Thatcher. Their working relationship is poor. Huron used the last of your time to cast divination and to learn through the divine magic of Ilyuvania that only woe awaited you in the Amber Thistle. And as the magic of Ilyuvania faded, it presented to you the symbol of the Pallid King as a final warning. While you began preparing for your evening infiltrations, Timber snuck off into the night to find his way through the sewers with the help of a few critters and an animal-speaking potion. He found his way to the Outerstead Squall district. Here he hid himself away and watched the shop known as the Withering Wick, which stands across from the Hag's End Tavern, where the rest of you plan to meet later that night with a group of rich children, essentially, who will get you into the Blighted Row. As Timber waited at the Withering Wick later that night, just before midnight, he found what he was waiting for. A cloaked stranger walking up and into the shop, the only defining feature, a noticeable mechanical prosthetic leg of Gwyn design. And this is where we ended last week. Now, before we proceed into potentially checking in with Timber, I would like to give you the opportunity right now to remind yourselves of your current plan.
Okay.
We had a plan.
Yeah. We're gonna go to the Hag's End later. We were all resting and gearing up, if I recall.
Right, to rescue Scarlet.
Yes. You
Okay.
were the ones that convinced me of this. I was about to go over there myself.
Tell me, Cal, this Druffle guy, is he trustworthy?
No.
Okay. What is he kind of like a little taller than I am?
Sean, how tall is Druffle?
Wiswick, how tall are you?
Oh.
I think you're.
Hold on, let me look
Aren't
it
you?
up.
Aren't you like 2'5"?
Yes, I'm very short.
Juthel's taller than him.
But
Yeah, he's a
how
little taller than you.
much?
Not by much,
Oh.
but Juthel's taller than him.
He's a child, so
And how does he talk? I mean, I
Like-
saw him, but I don't
like a
really
like
remember.
a local child. No, you're not going to dress up as Druffle. No. Wait.
Well, my disguise didn't work last time. They saw
Right,
through
right,
it.
but he's a real person.
Exactly.
No,
It's
no,
a better alias.
He's a child, and we're not going to let an evil criminal organization find out that he's the one who betrayed them.
But I mean, I gotta get somebody. He's
No,
just
you
a
could
random kid
literally
off the
just
street.
who were you? You said you were disguised as somebody, right? Who was it?
Ah, forget it. I'll just walk in there. They're gonna catch me anyway.
No, just be anybody. Just be a different gnome or a different child. That's fine.
But if I make somebody up, they're gonna know I'm not a local. They're looking for me.
Yeah, I'm not going to look like a local.
All right, we'll see what I can do. So we're just gonna walk in there, right? That's the plan.
Yes, that's the plan. We're gonna walk in there. We have invites to us, so at least we can get in through the door without having to fight through the door. And we find Scarlet. As soon as we find Scarlet, we get her out of there. We leave.
Did anyone?
What
see
about the
Tim
mask?
We
Burton
don't have
back?
we don't have time for complexity here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay. So just kidding. Yeah, I just wanted to give you a chance just to make sure you all remembered what your exact plans were, in case there was any other details, but that's fine.
Sean wanted us to make a plan.
Well, no, I didn't. It's not that I
don't
wanted
have
you
a
to
plan.
make like a full plan. It was more so I was like, just in case you wanted to remind yourselves if there was details you forgot.
That we
but-
never plan anything.
guns.
Well, I
guns
mean,
blazing.
I'm more of an
there
organic
was
thinker, so like I need things. We'll get a plan.
Thank
there
you.
was that research I was doing, Sean, but I doubt I can get the resources on such short notice.
Which research?
I was looking into the Pallid King and whether somebody can be recovered from the thrall of the
well, you were
Pallid
doing
Mask.
that during the time you guys were resting. So if you wanted to make a quick Arcana check as you're reading through that.
Sure.
Oh wait, no. I
Give it-
answered that last session. That it says that the only way of separating an individual who's been succumbed by the mask is death.
Oh, well, yeah, that was a part of it. But I think you also mentioned that there's possibly another way, but it's never been successfully done.
There's
ritual.
loose notes of a ritual. You wouldn't have enough time to really gather all the details of that. There are loose notes of a ritual to separate the binding that you noticed the druids had started writing notes in the book about how to potentially remove the mask from an individual without killing them.
I think I just quietly mention this to Kieran when we have some time walking around. Like, I'd just be like,
Hey, Kieran, I found some notes about the druids trying to cure somebody of the pallid mask. I'm not sure how valid it is, but if you see any people who worship the druidic gods, maybe give them an ask.
Of course. Maybe even those that worship the thunder god here could give us more information on that.
Yeah, a problem for tomorrow.
Right. For now, we must look to wherever we're going. Hag's End.
Kieran, also, I just wanted to note something because it got a little complex last week because we didn't have a lot of time. I think what we should do for now is saying that you had those reagents for divination before coming here.
Right.
And that if you wanted to pick up more before you leave, because I had told you that if you had gone there, it's run by an Elysian elf, and that would have obviously been a larger thing.
Yeah, no, I have notes in it to visit at the first convenient moment.
Great, just checking in with you there. Good.
Thanks.
All right. So, Timber. So as the rest of you are gearing up, it is approaching midnight. or the rest of you are just doing as you wish, getting ready to head towards the Hag's End. Timber, you see this figure enter into the Withering Wick. They had entered in sometime after you saw the owner of the establishment. Where's my notes? Gunvald Chandler, who you know who that is. That is someone you know is here as a resource. They step in after a quick knock at the door. They peek around, and they don't see you, but they are keeping an eye open to their surroundings, as this district is largely empty at this point, except a few hanger-ons, some people that you notice entering into the Hags and Tavern, some stumbling past down a very thin, dark alleyway that you presume may lead to the seedier part of town that is your ultimate destination. The figure you presume to be Bogdasha enters into the establishment. What would you like to do?
How many entrances seem to be to the Withering Wick?
You could check the back to see if there's another entrance, if you'd like.
I'd like to become a humanoid,
Mhm.
with a cloak, and try to see if there's a back entrance. Also, I'm casting Pass Without a Trace.
Okay. So yes, so give me a stealth check.
Oh, good thing I did. That's a 22.
22. Okay. Yeah, you as far as you can tell, you are stealthed by the shadows around you. You are in your humanoid form, your woven features reduced down to exaggerated hair and larger claws and fangs and hair across your body, but you are, for all intents and purposes, a shifter and not your lycanthropic form, your hybrid form. In the back of the shop, you do notice there is a back door entrance. It's a two floor single room on each floor shop. There's a back door. You can notice all scattered around, kind of discarded ingredients, some barrels of bad tallow and other fats for the wax making of the chandler. It reeks. This whole district is clearly the dirty district. There's tanneries, the chandler shop. There's an acrid smell in the air. But there is a back entrance, and there are windows on the top floor and windows on the two windows on the left and right wall of the house, and then one window on the front and back of the second floor.
Any lights inside?
There are lights on the first floor.
Okay.
That are burning.
Second floor.
No lights.
I'm going to look through one of the windows and blink inside.
Okay. All right. Would you like to get a good glimpse inside, or are you just trying to look in so you can do the spell to get inside?
No, I'm just looking for, because it's a dark area, so I'm just gonna blink inside.
Okay. So wait, on the first floor, right?
Second floor.
Second floor. Okay. So you just want to be able to see inside enough to blink. Okay, easy enough. You peek up to the window. You notice what you can inside. You cast the spell and you appear up pretty much almost on the windowsill, but with somewhat in the room, and you kind of immediately get a feel for the room. It is a very small bedroom. You hear a little bit of barking downstairs from Gunvald's seeing eye dog Vundar. And you just hear immediately the loud clamoring of Gunvald yelling at the dog to shut up. But as far as you can tell, besides that slight sensitivity of the dog detecting you, nothing comes of it. Inside is just Gunvald's bed, bureau, a few other things. It's a very small room, pretty much enough for the bed and a few personal belongings and chests for other belongings.
I'm gonna just wait a little bit and just try to listen in, just make sure that, or what's going on down in the first floor.
Sure, and I mean this is a very simple structure, so you can see through the in between the
cracks
floor,
of
the floor, and here down below. So if you want to give me a perception check.
It's a 15.
15. Okay. So you hear below the sound of a brief conversation, or a very friendly conversation. It's by no means hostile. As you hear Gunvald. Oh, but Dasha, what have you brought me this time? What your visit? You hear a thump on his table as you can kind of see through him, kind of feeling for the bag. And she dips her hand in. Yes, this'll do. This'll do. You would know, given your history, you would know of this resource of Gunvald here as a safe house, as well as a rumor gatherer. In exchange, high quality beeswax is provided to him because it is good for business, since the traditional tallow candles of this region smell like ass, but the beeswax ones don't smell. Keeps him in business in exchange for information and safe housing here. This is what you know his role is with your past. Bogdasha, you can see her or hear her moving around, closing all the windows in the first floor and locking them. As Gunvald is just like, always so suspicious and paranoid you folk are when you come visit. You're always coming after I'm done lighting the streets, when I'm tired. What is it that you're here for this time? As she, after some time, steps into the middle of the room and just looks to him and says, and you can see her take off her hood, and you can see the familiar face of Bogdasha, slightly darker skin tone, she's a young 20s, early 20s, large, bushy red hair in very, very curly, wearing the traditional garb, the darkened garb of the Way of the Shadow, the Gwyn designed prosthetic leg from the top of the knee down with her right leg, a bright bronze color. She looks down and just says, Gunvald, you're always a great resource for us here, but you need to be quiet. I am meeting someone this time, another one of ours. So please, if you do not mind, be quiet. Shut your dog up. We'll provide even more payment, as we might need longer stay here. Please, be discreet. In fact, I'd prefer it if you went upstairs when he arrives. All right. Don't need to tell me twice. When he gets here, I'll say my hellos, my thank yous, and I will retreat upstairs while you do your shady business. And if you have more, I do have rumors. That is usually all you come here for. And we may talk soon, but thank you for your participation, Gunvold. I will wait here. All right, well, let me get you some bread and tea while you wait. And you see him fuddling away towards the hearth, where you recognize him. He's a man in his 80s. You know, the grayed out eyes of a blind man, but also a very capable man. As you see him grabbing the teapot, pouring it himself. He knows this place at the back of his hand. You see all the barrels of tallow and other wax making. There's big cubbied shelves filled with candles that he's made of varying sizes.
When he says, let me get you some tea and bread, it doesn't matter for flavor. I'd like Timber to just be sitting on the stairs and say, make that too. Pieces of bread.
Timber, you've been here before.
Mm-hmm.
Like you know Gunvold. He would make me take some time to recognize you, but he would. As soon as you say make that too, but Dasha whips her head up and makes eye contact with you as you're kind of leaning in the dark, looking down. Gunvold just smiles as he's grabbing the teapot, and and Vundar just comes rushing up the stairs to greet you. Having been here a few times, you have, and your affinity for animals in general, Vundar, who is a large mastiff, comes rushing up to you and immediately puts his paws on your shoulder and starts licking your face.
Easy there. Oh, come on, put your hands down. Good boy.
And he just does that thing where the dog kind of twirls his body so he leans into you, and just looks up at you as you pet his behind his ears,
the inside of his neck.
Yeah, inside his neck, and he just does that dog thing. He's like, oh yeah. As Bogdasha looks up and with a smile and a laugh says, I should have expected that you would be here already.
Looks like you've grown. Last I saw you was you were tiny. This 6 years ago? 7?
It was a long time ago. It's been a long time, Kaze.
Well, how long have you been here?
I've been here for at least a week. I was sent here immediately to start looking into your requests.
You've got here quick.
Well,
I know that you need to be extracted soon.
yes. They will be expecting my call.
Okay. In that case, what can you tell me?
Come and join us for the tea.
We shall. Come on. Get no off my lap.
It takes a while, but he eventually, with a light whimper, proceeds down the stairs and rushes to his master's side. But you all sit around the small table in Gunvald's little dining area back of the room. She looks up at you and just says, as she sips the tea, it's been a long time, Kaze, and these are not the usual people we look for.
I know.
What is happening? What are you involved in?
Well, after I left the Sulk, my wife, Reina, she's here. What do you know about her? She's my wife. I don't know how much Yuzo told you.
Yuzo does not trust many these days in the Sulk, but he trusts me. You trained me well, and he did as well. He told me of your relations outside the sulk and your family. I presumed that you had left for good with that information.
I would still be if this did not happen.
Well, I am pleased to tell you that I've at least learned some information. It was not easy. Required a lot of our training.
Good. I'm glad to hear. Timber's like a little bit of like an awe, like, look, she's grown up.
Absolutely. This was definitely be like 100% seeing that kid that you taught in high school after just like right after they graduated college.
Yeah.
But she sort of grasps at her face and rubs her temple and looks down and says, "This is a strange pocket of criminals.
Why is that?
I don't see what their purpose is. They seem to not. Certainly, they do the traditional gambling and fighting and intimidation, but they actively thwart their fellow criminals. They seem not interested in their parent syndicate at all. And from what I understand, they are operating completely on their own.
So, what I learned before I left the group that I've been traveling with, and you need to tell this information back home. They are operating with a deity. It's the Pallid King. And there are these masks that they seem to possess individuals. What their end goal is, I'm not sure. But this Highland Syndicate, they are in possession of a mask.
I have seen this mask. If it is the same mask that you speak of, it is in their hideout, the Amber Thistle. I have been in there a few times when I have stalked around at night. I have not gained their trust enough to be permitted in there on my own, but I have used the way. It looks like a treasure to them. They keep it in a place of honor. Glass case behind the chair that the boss sits in, this Erdwolf Thatcher. Truly despicable fellow. I prayed for the day Astreus gave me his name to murder.
He's on the list.
I have not heard word of any movements in that direction from Yuzo, but if I have ever seen anyone who deserves to be on the list, I sent the name in myself. Yuzo has not returned my quest. But it seems as though, from gathered where they are and what their affiliation is, I did not know that this mask had any religious significance. All I know is that they have another facility where they bring people that they have captured.
And where is that?
From what I understand, it is the mountain valley.
Is this Steep Bluff?
The steep bluffs, potentially. There are other rumors that I've extracted from individuals that it is either in Steep Bluff or somewhere north within the confines of the Wood Elven forest lands. They use the enchanted forest as cover. Either way, they use the isolated position to keep others from finding their facility. I do not know what they're studying, but they bring these individuals there. And from what I understand, what I have learned, that is likely where they brought Reina.
Understood.
I presumed from what Yizo told me that it is because of her prowess in magic and tinkering and other arcane arts. They may be using her specialty and skill to do their work.
She wouldn't do it willingly.
I'd like to hope not, for your sake.
I hope for all of our sakes. Well, thank you, Bogdasha, for doing this for me.
What are you planning to do?
Well, first, I might have to help out saving an idiot. One of my party members.
Who are these people you're with? This party, you say? Do not know you to work with others.
I know.
This
They're
is not the
tools.
way.
I know. I met someone who I thought had more of a lead and had the same goal of finding these people. So I traversed. Her name is Scarlet. She is an assassin for the Crimson Court. She has a much deeper and darker history. She's looking for what Edroth Thatcher, who is her brother. Brother.
Yeah, well, if Thatcher is her brother, there's not much hope left for that one. Not met a crueler man in my entire time.
I owe her. She saved my daughter.
The Way of the Dusk does not like to incur debt.
I know.
Blinds us. Leads us astray.
I taught you that. Well, I need an army to take care of these people. They're bigger than us individually. As I'm learning. So I need to gain as many allies as I can.
Well, I would like to say that when I return to the Sulk, we would have your back. Yuzo has had trouble with the Way of the Dawn.
This needs to be not spoken.
Of course.
Although the Pallid King does need to be brought to light.
I will alert Yuzo as soon as I return. He will know what to do.
He will. Have you heard at all about Locke?
Not
Locked.
locked.
Lock.
Lock. Oh. No, I cannot say I have.
And where's Luma?
From what I understand, your brother sent someone else to check on them.
Luma? Okay. I believe.
Oh, sorry, I misheard you.
You're good.
You. Okay, yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. You're improving.
I'll
You're
redo
improving
that
here.
one. I'll redo that one. I was like sitting here. I'm like, there's a list of like 10 people from your backstory. I'm looking at. She wouldn't know much about Locke.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Or that background of him. But she would say that that Yuzo has sent Luma out to from what I understand, she has been sent out on a mission, but is not actually out on a mission, but is investigating the way of the dawn. There's a fissure at the sulk. It is not doing well.
Is that why we're stretched thin?
Yes. The way of the dawn, they have the ear of the people, the village. They trust them more than us. And it is that time of year where we are supposed to be going out to perform our tasks.
That is correct.
I'm sure as I update Yuzo on your whereabouts and the situation, he will be in touch with you.
He will. I'll update him as I know more.
By the way, you look terrible.
Yeah, I can look worse if you want me to.
But this must have been a very hard time for you.
It has been. I lost touch. I cannot do what I used to.
Well, I am sure that Astraeus will guide you back
He has.
and bring your spirit into balance.
I thank you, Bogbasha. May the light guide you. You can do it, Sean. You can do it.
Where to go? Where to go? I lost it.
I'm just testing, Sean.
I know, and it's like all this stuff that I've made. And may the shadows protect you.
And then with that, Timber gets up out of his seat and goes into his hybrid form.
In front of her?
In front of her. This is what they normally look like after a couple of cracks.
And you see, like most monks of the way, the shadow do not get shocked by anything, but her eyes do go wide. She looks at your bestial form, and she doesn't step back. She stays put and stands up from her own chair and just sort of comes up to you and puts a hand on your shoulder.
Stay out of the Gosuro Nation.
Should I tell Yuzo about this as well?
He knows, but not to this degree. Go ahead, tell him. There's only so much words can portray via letter.
You have certainly been led astray. I pray that you find your way back.
Thank you. I need to be off.
Is there any last things you need? Otherwise, I will call for the extraction upstairs.
I believe that is all. Do you have any leftover charming potions?
I have one left that I can leave with you.
I'd appreciate that.
I have a few other resources as well. She will leave you with a charming potion. She will leave you with 2 smoke bombs.
Ooh.
She will also leave you with a a vial of where is it? A vial of what you can tell is midnight tears poison. I did not have to use this, thankfully.
I'm glad to hear that. Although sad to hear that you could not use it on Errol's stature.
Last thing I will tell you is not to underestimate him. He's a frightening man. He controls everything here. He has the warden under his boot. He has the churches under his boot. Nothing happens in this region without him knowing.
So all the political powers in this.
One way or another, he controls them.
Understood.
And along with that mask, I found 2 other artifacts. A sword, a long sword. Obsidian in nature. Red runes along the blade. They appear to be some sort of abyssal or infernal. I've not seen him wield it. And along with that, an ancient text they stole from the storm spire here. No, it is not our way nor our responsibility. But if someone desecrated the libraries of the Sulk, I would want that returned. They may be happy to see that come back to their fold.
Do you think? I'll keep that in mind.
I say that because you, as you said, you are in need of allies.
I need power to help drive this mission.
And if there is nothing else, I think I will return home. You see, she
Take care.
freezes for a moment in front of you, kind of standing tall, and you're just thinking how proud you are of her, and she does sort of break stoicism for a moment to rush in and hug you around the waist tightly.
I give her a hug back.
And then you see her release. She gives you a nod, and as you're about to leave, you watch as she sits down in front of the fireplace, the hearth, in a meditative stance, and begins to mutter under her breath. Through the dawn I am sustained, through the dusk I am protected, in their weaving I am set free. She recants that over and over before, as you watch as slowly some light whips from the fire and begins to wrap around her and dance around her, as you watch her almost dissipate into shadow as she vanishes, returning to the sulk.
I down the rest of my tea. I take the bread with me. Old man, thank you. Again.
Oh, any time, Kaze. If I knew you were coming, I would have gotten out better bread and maybe some
meats. I know.
And maybe some meats. And if you smell a bit different now, but maybe bring out some of that Nordka.
I love me some Nordica.
And then if you need anything else,
That is all.
find me here.
Thank you, old man. And I reach down and I, rile up the dog and. All right, it must be off. And I leave.
Okay.
And I leave just stealthily, not through the front door, and I don't go to the tavern, but I go in an alleyway nearby it, being a suspicious little dog.
Easy enough to do. As you leave, involves kind of laughing and calling for Vundar, who's crying as you're leaving the door because he got to see his old friend just for a moment before you leave, and you can easily find that alleyway and become a non-suspicious looking stray wolf. Is there anything else you'd like to do before we jump back to our other friends?
That is it.
Okay. All right. Back to Cal, Kieran, and Wiswick, and Robert.
Hi,
What would you all
Robert.
like to do? Oh, hey, yeah.
I pull off one of my socks and I hand it to him, and I say,
Yeah, don't worry, they're magic. If anything comes out of this sock, I want you to take it to the our outside to the cart. I want you to hide it in there, and I want you to stay hidden in the cart.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sure. I'll have this magic sock. I'll watch this guy.
Yeah, but the sock takes priority. If it's a note,
Okay.
it's whatever. That's probably just me saying hi or playing a goof or something.
Okay.
If it's an actual item, you gotta hide it in the cart and get ready to bolt. Forget the guys.
Okay. And he just looks from Wiswick directly to Cal, like,
Cal gives like a, yeah, I guess sounds good. I mean, I don't know what's coming through that sock, so like, sure, it's possible.
okay, I'll let me go write all this down. And sure. Okay. Are you guys gonna die?
No. Why would we ever die? Don't you know
Okay.
I'm invincible?
Okay, yeah, that's right. That's right. Invincible schmigs.
All right, I'm kind of warming
Cal
up
doesn't
to
say
it.
that, but
It's good with the adjectives.
All right. Okay.
Cal is
and he
just
takes
oh,
the
sorry.
sock. Yeah, he just takes the sock and it's dump.
Cal is just still in the main room with Wiswick and our captives and Robert, and he's kind of just, I'm just going over my gear, just like making sure we're all good. Anything that needs a sharpening is being sharpened. Anything that needs a honing is being honed.
Totally.
Yeah,
this would all be probably like a half hour, 40 minutes after Kieran's divination, as you were all just sort of stealing your last selves, gathering anything that you need. I'll say by this point it's approaching midnight, and you can start getting ready to leave if you'd like.
Yeah, just for funsies, gonna make sure that I have Vigilant Blessing cast on myself.
Easy enough.
So, done now.
Okay, you whisper your prayers to Ilyvania. As you all gather yourselves ready, throw your cloaks on, you have all your gear, and you head downstairs through the tavern.
Wait, I knock on Timber's door to get him to go.
There is no answer, and the door is locked.
Timber, let's go. We really got to move. Did anyone see him leave?
No.
I was in a
He
trap.
hasn't said anything for a long time.
I knock loudly.
No response.
Okay,
It's dark under the door. There's no light coming out. He entered there when it was still a little bit light out. No candles lit, nothing, just emptiness, silence.
How strong is this door?
I'd say it's well made.
Damn it.
Because this is a very nice tavern, and you bought the nice
I know.
rooms.
I know. I know I did. Well, look, we have to get him out of there, right? Because now I'm concerned that he's not in there. If he's not in there, then what? Did somebody come in here and can take him while we were away? Or while we weren't looking?
You see Robert looks at the room. He just goes, "Oh, is it locked?"
Yes, it's locked. And I can't, I don't want it, well, I could kick it down. I don't want to.
All right. I could try to pick it.
I raise my eyebrow at him and I go, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the best at this, but I was practicing a lot, before I met you guys.
Wiswick skeptically summons Jet and has him fly out the window and look inside of the room if there's a window in the room.
I would say, I mean, there is a window, but it's. I guess, Timber, did you close the window after you left? No. So yeah. So
Blind vision. He has echolocation. He could just tell if there's something in the room.
Okay.
Right?
Perception check.
There's a door or a window.
Away.
Yeah, if it's closed, then no, because then the sound just. This is why the bat is really a terrible familiar. I'd say go ahead and give me a perception check. As you're looking through Jet, what does Jet get?
Bat's a terrible familiar. Gets a 19 on perception. 60 feet of blind sight.
Yeah, it can have a 19 on perception for 60 feet. Well, an owl can have a 19 on perception for like 2 miles. Sorry, I love Jet. But
Even
Jet,
though he dies frequently.
I kill him often. Jet. So Jet uses his blind vision, and he can see inside. There's no movement until he sees as Robert is able to pick the lock easily enough, and the door opens, and just
Good
dark.
work.
You have double confirmed though that Timber is not in there, and none of his belongings are in there.
Well, shit. We really needed a. I mean, fuck.
I'm sure he'll meet us outside the Hags, and he knew where it was. Timber, he does this kind of thing.
Does he?
At least once before.
Well, we don't have an option. We have to go. So I guess let's just go.
Yeah, who needs them? He wasn't willing to help
We do.
before.
We all need them.
Yeah, I mean, we
We're
need
going
him,
into
but
a highly
he's not
violent
helping.
situation with a really strong chance of us all dying. I really think that we should use everyone we have, except for you, Robert. You stay here.
Ilyvani will make sure who needs to be there is there. Kieran walks out the door.
I look after him for a moment, a little bit stunned, and then I shrug a little, and I go, that actually makes me feel a little bit better. And I walk out the door after him.
Okay. So, noticing Timber is not present, but that's with the assuring words of your comrades that he will hopefully join you in your endeavor. You leave out through the tavern downstairs. It's rather late. It is a. Just want to make sure I got this right, so that I don't give you the wrong day. It is a Tears Dog evening. So
That's good.
It's there's not a lot of folk in the tavern. There's people who just are the people who are drinking on a Tears Dog at this time are either celebrating something or they're here every night of the week. So there's some folk who are enjoying a late dinner after they've gotten off work, but it's very quiet. So there's not many people to notice you leaving, but not many people to hide amongst as well. You enter out into the cold night air of the Stormspire Circle. The streets similarly have that quiet nature to them. You just hear the flickering of lanterns and the thrum of insects in the night. and the distant river lapping. How would you like to? What would you like to do now?
I follow the directions that we've received to get to the
That's
Hag's
true.
End Tavern.
You did get directions. So it doesn't take you too long going through the city. Are you trying to be inconspicuous, or are you just walking straight there?
Keep 'em casual.
I
Casual,
think
okay.
Wiswick just keeps it casual too, but hides his face. Like he hides. He puts his hat away and he just puts a hood over his head. He's still wearing the same clothes and everything. He just thought that like
Weren't you
with a
gonna-
cloak on, maybe that'll just be enough.
Weren't you going to disguise yourself though? Didn't you? Did you think was your cover blown?
It sorta. I mean, you did say that that guy was chasing a gnome, and that the gnome was going to the tavern, and that's why he found you, right?
Right. So
So all of
I'd
our
to
covers are
rephrase
blown.
that I'm not. Well, I hope that Kieran and mine aren't, because I stopped him.
Well, if you
But you're
stopped
right.
him, maybe
there's a
mine
decent
isn't
chance that
either.
we are. I mean, all right. And I keep walking because
Okay.
Cal doesn't have time for this, you know.
Yeah. So you are heading back.
None of
You're
us do.
you're booking it to the Outerstead Squall District, essentially. Okay. So you head out.
Game face is on already.
Game face already on. Okay. So you head out. Following the directions, you head out of the western gatehouse of the Tempest Hold. You notice this is the most secure gatehouse. It's the largest. It's essentially more of a fort, where there's likely the essentially the barracks and central place for what would be the town's guard that has been lowered in numbers down. So
It's
it's
the Western Gatehouse.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you entered when you first got here out of the. Sorry, you're right. It is the Eastern Gatehouse.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
I mix up as I've always said, East and West, left and right. I mix them up all the time. Uh,
Port and starboard.
It's the Eastern Gatehouse. Yes. It's very dark because there's not a lot of people who actually run it. The Towns Guard don't even really occupy it anymore. They might have a guy there or two, but mostly you notice as you approach that there are what look like those bruisers there. Just a couple of them, same fashion as before. It's just a arched gatehouse with the gates open wide, torches, two guys leaning against one wall, and then a larger half-orc woman leaning against the other wall. As they're just watching the streets, you notice a few drunkards are heading out towards the Outerstead Squall. There's very few people out at this hour. It's very quiet, but they are keeping an eye out on people.
Is the half elf woman the same one from before?
She's half-orc, and no, it's not
Half-orc.
the same one from before.
Okay. That's fine then.
So you can head straight through. You're not sure as far as like has word of your arrival spread to everyone, which is everyone looking for Wiswick? You don't really know what the status of that really is, because Wiswick, you yourself don't really know if Erdwolf Thatcher put an order out to like find you. And Cal, you're not entirely sure if that guy wasn't just stalking you because they had you being stalked from the beginning, because they noticed you coming in.
Yep. I think, paranoid as he is, Wiswick has assumed that he's being hunted, so he's going to just keep his head down and try and stay on the opposite side of Cal. Actually, Kieran, because he's taller. And just like avoid, like basically stealthing through as much as he can, just hiding behind his friends.
Okay. So the three of you are heading through these gates. As you're walking Wiswick, I imagine you're kind of like hiding in the middle between them as you're heading out. And they do seem to stare you down as you're leaving. You see the half-orc woman kind of tries to make eye contact with each of you. Do you guys avoid her eyes, or are you just kind of casual about it? Okay.
Kieran will probably look her straight in the eyes and just maybe try to figure out, are they looking for us specifically? Are like they casing us up and down, or is it just a
Give me an insight check.
Yeah, of course. That's gonna be a 11.
It's hard to tell if this is routine or if they're specifically looking for individuals. At the very least, to you, it seemed it could go either way. But thinking about it for a moment, it's more likely that they're just looking out and keeping an eye on who's entering and leaving this area. She does say to you as you kind of give her the stare down. She's heading into the outer stead sprawl tonight. Not sprawl. That's an area in my home campaign. Heading out into the outer stead squall tonight.
Yes, we're meeting some friends for some late night drink. Kieran says, not breaking stride.
Be careful out there. Gates close at 2 a.m.
Thank you for the warning, dear.
You got it. As they kind of just look at each other, and you can tell that they're just sort of like looking to each other like, those guys, should we follow them? Should we not? Nah. And then you can see they just peeking back. They look like for a moment they're thinking about following you, mostly because you're armed. And then they seem to stay where they are. And every now and then you peek back and they don't move from the gatehouse. So you are making your way down town.
Walking fast.
I'm walking pretty fast.
I imagine Cal's like
Evasive
got a
pass.
go. So you go and you're following your directions. So you don't need
Scarlet bound.
you don't need to really like find this place. You're following the directions. You can see kind of
Sorry.
this area. It's individual homes sometimes, and then sometimes it's stacked tenements of wattle and daub. This area is a little bit more spacious than the last outer stead you walked through, likely because as soon as you get in there, it immediately reeks and has that acrid smell of tanneries and chandlers, and you can assume that this area is probably really low income because that's the only they can only afford to live amongst the acrid scent. Before you dart into this neighborhood, to your right is kind of a similarly stacked on top of each other wattle and daub homes, but there is a very large courtyard here with a old fountain that is in ruins, and some like market stalls that are empty, that because it's nighttime. And you do notice there are people kind of moving about. You see a few people sitting in front of their homes drinking what looks like very old dirty bottles that are probably some low grade rum or something like that. Kieran, you would notice that amongst these streets, though, as you're turning into the kind of tannery district of here, there are every now and then you see individuals pocked amongst the clustered homes that are just sort of leaning against a wall and kind of looking around, or moving kind of in parallel districts from you. Not necessarily following you, but they seem to be stalking the district.
Okay. If any of them are like muttering amongst themselves to the point where I might see their lips, could I read what they are saying to each other?
Yeah, give me a quick perception check to see if you can find one of them that's talking.
Well, he's rolling. As we get closer and closer to the Hag's End, Cal takes like a deep breath and he like slips into like performance mode, and he paints out like a kind of like a cocky smirk, but like that's like glazed over, like he's already drinking,
I see.
Yeah, he's had 2 or 3. He's like buzzed and he's on the way to drunk and he's heading out into the night.
Okay, go ahead and give me a general performance check for the for your state as you're in this mode.
Can I help him by taking my endless whiskey bottle and just like splashing like little dabs on
Actually,
his
yeah,
clothes?
you absolutely can give him a little whiskey smell for sure, and that'll give him advantage.
Well, I rolled an 18 both times. So that's 19. It's a 19.
You sufficiently look like a man who had a few whiskeys in his estate, and then looked to his friends and said, "Let's get weird tonight."
That's exactly what I was going for. So perfect.
I've had a few. Let's go to the Blighted Row. um,
Let's slum it down there.
don't forget to leave your purses at home, gentlemen.
I'm only carrying 20 gold on me.
You know.
I have a question that I probably should have asked like way earlier. I took a short rest. Am I still feeling the effects of that drug that I smoked?
You know what's so funny is I was watching the not last episode but the episode before, and I was like totally forgot that you were high when you were in the you didn't smoke that much of it. You specifically said you're not trying to really ingest too much of it. You were just trying to look cool in the bad guy hangout. So I'd say you might be a little groggy, but there's no outstanding effects happening to you at this point. This is several hours later.
Yeah, I think that just because of doing that, I feel like a little out of it, so I don't drink even though I want to. And
Okay.
I just walk around with the bottle open.
Okay. All right. Curon, what did you get on that perception check?
29.
It's always 29. So I'd say there is about halfway into the district, and about halfway to the Hag's End from there. I'd say you notice two of them who kind of meet, almost like they're crossing ships in their patrol. And they stop, and it's very hard because they're a bit far away, but you can kind of make out some of what they're saying. You even maybe stop for a second, but then like as Cal gets a little too ahead of you, you're like, oh, I gotta go. I'd say the gist of what you can get from it is keep a sharp eye out tonight. The warden's seeing the boss.
Cool.
All right. So, as you continue through the streets, you eventually get to the end of the row, which opens up into a kind of misshapen circle. You see, this is where the tenements are most thoroughly stacked together. You see, like they're like leaning against the walls of the Tempest Hold. You know, it's a very tightly packed area, shantytown-esque. You notice. Where is it? Where'd it go? Outer Stit Squall. There it is. You notice there's a pathway that leads to the riverside, which at this point you can hear the rushing of the river because it's only about a couple 100 feet away. It took you about 20 minutes to get here from your inn. You notice there is kind of a wharf house. You notice there's a smaller market square. You see directly to your right, deep in the crevice of the circle that kind of splits off into this little nub off the circle. You can see a little light in front of a sign that says the Withering Wick. There are several torches lit all around here, and then you see directly across from that, opposite on there, you do see the Hag's End Tavern, which has a sign that's a wooden cutout of a witch hanging by a noose, with a big smile on her face, holding a cauldron that is filled with beer. As
Do
she's
I
dying.
see any of our quote friends quote?
I'm not even going to make you roll for it because they are absolutely out front right now. So the Hag's End is it's a two-story tavern. It's got a little front vestibule that sticks out, and then it kind of comes in and curves. There's no door on the front, actually. It just enters in and then turns into the tavern proper. There's a long bench in the front it's like overgrown with these gnarly bushes and vines, and you see your friends. Some of them are sitting down. You notice Regan is pretty much laying on the bench, probably done for the night.
How did she make it here? She was like incoherent like 6 hours ago.
She took a long nap for her second wind. She don't realize that she's actually a fighter, and she was second wind. You know what's really funny? It just must have been in the back of my head. I named one of them Arlen.
Yeah, you did, and I said that. I was like, "What?" You were like, "Ah."
He's here to kill this bratty trust fund kid. You see Cliff Hall there, who is the half elf, and then you also see Tellus, who was the dwarven woman. You see Florin is there. Arlen is not there for the sake of my own sanity. But Cliff Hall, Tellus, and Florin are there. Florin being the kind of the beta male one who kind of tries to size up Cliff Hall, who's the half elf snob, and then Tellus is the tough dwarven woman, and Regan is the passed out drunk.
I thought Cliff Hall was the kid who just turned 18.
I'm sorry, you're right. You're correct. Arlen was the half
Let's
elf.
spend a lot of time arguing about this.
Yeah,
right now.
you know what? I'm going to
really ruin
I'm going
the
to say
pacing of our own show.
take it back. Keeping Arlen in because he is the half elf. You're right.
He's the half elf.
Cliff Hall did just turn 18, so Cliff Hall is sitting on the side of the bench.
Cool.
On the ground, kind of like as Arlen, Florin, and Tellus are all kind of talking amongst each other, like laughing, snickering. They're clearly the ones who can still go out. Arlen or Cliff Hall and Regan are probably going to crash slum it in the Hag's End, but you see them all out front. You see a few people passing them and kind of sneering at them, but they are there out front, waiting for you.
Friends, thank God. I was worried maybe you wouldn't be here.
You see Arlen immediately turns, and you can see as he turns, he's smoking a long Gandalf-style pipe as he just looks at, "Oh, we were starting to think you wouldn't make it." Also, and you see the dwarven woman kind of brushes forward. She's no longer like she's in like real casual gear. Like she's not like dressed up or anything. She's got like wrappings on her hands. She looks like she's gonna fight tonight in the fighting ring, and she's just sort of pounds a fist into her hand and looks up at you, Cal, and goes, "Oh, the pretty boy made it for the fighting pits."
Be careful with flattery like that. It might get you somewhere, I say, winking at her.
And she gives you a mean grin as Florin's kind of like scoffing because he's like, "Ugh,
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm supposed to be number 2 here, not."
Yeah.
And then you hear coming from just the last utterance from Regan before they bring her inside.
Is that a dog?
I thought I saw a dog a little while ago. I think I saw a dog a little while ago with that old man. Curon, is that you?
Hello, Regan. Are you feeling all right?
She still has the braid that you braided her hair, and so she's like, I think I need to go to bed.
I think that and some water would be well advised.
Arlen's like, yes, Reagan.
Anya.
Reagan and Cliff Hall here, old chap, didn't make it. They're gonna go catch a room in the inn, while the rest of us head into the Blighted Row. I see you brought your swords.
Yeah, you had mentioned something about it, so I figured I wouldn't disappoint. Oh, and by the way, this is our other friend. His name is. I look at Wiswick, hesitate for a second, and go, John Biscuit. This is John Biscuit.
No, peculiar name. Peculiar name, and I see a gnome of sorts. Welcome to the party.
Thanks.
All right. Very personable. I'm sure he'll do great.
You get to know him. He's a good guy.
All right. Well, I shall warn you. This is a dangerous part of town. We've only been here once before.
Oh, what a coincidence! So have I.
Oh, you've been? Are you local?
No, I'm not. I just waltzed in here when I first got to town. It's a pretty crazy place.
He came
well,
in
you-
with my my family's caravan when we moved
Oh.
the supplies in. I don't deal with the details, but he's one of the few that I've been able to talk to as we've traveled.
Oh, certainly, of course, of course. Well, if you, Mr. Biscuit, were willing to just waltz into the Blighted Row, then I'm sure you'll do fine tonight. All right then, Calith, Curon, Mr. Biscuit, shall we shove off then, as they say?
I love nautical themed metaphors. Let's do it.
Aye, aye.
All right.
My father owns several boats. Well, ships, fleets, I think is the word. Sorry, keep going.
Oh, yes,
That was
and you
just as we're walking away.
Yeah, and as you say that, you hear Arlen's sort of like, yes, fleets, of course, fleets, definitely fleets. And after they deposit Regan and Cliff Hall into a safe room upstairs, you begin to head up towards this very small alleyway between a large portion of Shantytown tenements. You actually notice like halfway through that they're kind of like almost touching, leaning the buildings leaning together. It absolutely reeks of not only tannery refuse, but like vomit and just the smell of waste. And it takes a while as you are kind of weaving through that before there's like a small brick wall with like wrought iron archway that looks very old, like it's part of the original town, or was only built a while ago, and it's just sort of like the exit of town that used to exist. And you step through it, and it just leads out to a dirt road and just the riverside. And for a moment, it's very nice, peaceful. It takes a few feet out before the waste smell starts to go away as it's blowing away downstream. As you look around, you can see the tall walls to your left as the walls start to go along a raised cliff that seems to be going around. And your own, as you walk, the layer you're on starts to raise up as well as the river begins to be below on the cliffside, maybe about 10, 15 feet down. As you're walking through, the passageway gets tighter and tighter and tighter. For a moment, you're like, are they fucking with us? Like, where are they bringing us? There's nothing out here. They're just bringing us to the other side of the wall to drink by the river. But then eventually you start to see some lights down around the bend. As you can see these ramshackled barricade walls that look to be made just of like refuse, like old wagons, just real janky looking walls, and two double-doored gates that's really just planks of wood on a hinge with two torches on it, and a single individual outside, and then like several people in a crowd, like almost like a line up to that door.
Does this all make sense to me, like spatially, seeing as I was like technically in this place before?
I would say yes. It looks like this is like the logical path to the right from where you had entered into the town. Because if you
Okay.
remember, you came in through the sewers, and there was a path to the right and a path to the left before you, and you and Scarlet went up the left path. So you presume that this is like the official entrance to the Blighted Row.
Okay.
I just want to also note, Sean, that I'd be stalking them the whole time.
That's right. I completely forgot to.
Sorry.
I was actually gonna say something about. I want to be, not like constantly looking, but I want to keep an eye out for. If
I figured you would keep an eye out. So Timber, you would still have Pass Without a Trace up. So go ahead and give me a stealth check, and Cal, you can give me a perception check.
I think I just whispered to Curon.
There's a back
I
entrance.
don't think he's
used
gonna
it
beat
last-
this.
I rolled pretty high, but you're also a ninja, so probably not.
Well, that's a 35, so...
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, I thought a dirty 20 was good.
Fast without a
Even I
trace.
can't get that high.
Remember that one
Yeah.
time when I caught Timber like 2 sessions ago? That
Yeah.
felt good.
And it'll be the last. All right, so you don't notice Timber. I mean, you're kind of frantically looking around like we really fucking need you, man. As Timber, you're kind of just keeping a distance behind them. You know, there's not a lot of light around here. It's an easy place for you to be stealthing behind them. You know, the three rich kids are pretty drunk as they're walking down, and your friends accompanying them.
Also, I want to ask, how tall are the buildings around here?
As you're approaching the
Yeah.
gap.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say from a distance behind, you notice that the barricade around is probably it's not super tall. It's probably 8 feet tall. The barricade itself, or the barricade's 10 feet tall. The double planked gates are about 8 feet tall. The buildings behind it are there's you can see these main warehouses, and then a bunch of like shanty towns built around them. The warehouses are pretty tall though. They're probably about I'd say, oh, where's my chart? I don't have my chart. They're about 30 feet high, 30 feet up, and then there's just clamored around shanty town attached to them. Okay. Anything else anyone would like to do or before approaching? Okay.
Just maintaining my performance as slightly drunk man.
Absolutely.
For
You notice as you're approaching, Arlen kind of like puts a hand and stops you and just says, and you can kind of, he's close to you now, so you can like smell like he's very drunk. And he's just, all right, well then, let me do the talking, mate, and we should get in easily enough. We've done it once before. We could do it again. It should be a slow night for them, so they should want our money. So follow me and just keep behind me.
okay. I'm not the kind of guy that would ask where we're going. I have all the time and money in the world.
Exactly. So he brings you forward, and you can hear kind of the lapping of the river below, the sounds of the night. As you can see, the guard that's up by the door is kind of talking to each person. You see he kicks some people out and sends them off. You see them sort of like stumbling drunk away. You see a few people. You can see he's kind of assessing each person with how drunk they are as they approach, and he sends the drunkest people away. And Curon, I would say with your passive perception, every now and then you would notice, because the gates are just barely ajar, and every now and then you would notice him just sort of tap on the gate as he sends someone away, as they stumble off. It's just something you notice. But you are approaching in the line. Is there anything you would like to do before your group is up?
Can I just get Jet to take to the skies before we get close to the guards and just have him fly around the radius of the building and just look for maybe like near the river and just keep an eye out if there's any danger or if there's like lots of... I basically warn him to say something telepathically if there's anyone with lots of weapons coming near the building or that.
Okay. Give me a quick perception check for him.
Okay. 18.
Okay.
That's with hearing.
Yep. So I'd say with that hearing, Jet would notice one thing, kind of concurrent or right after the knocking on the gate, is that there is a side entrance to that amongst the barricaded wall that's kind of on the cliffside, and Jet would notice here an individual open a small door, step out, and then kind of rappel down a rope and start heading towards an upward path that leads up to cut off the drunk person that was sent away.
Interesting. I lean over to Curon and I say,
I think they're robbing the people who they don't let in.
Yes, it looks that way. Whenever the bouncer sends away, or whenever the guardsman sends away a drunk man, he taps on the gate signal. Another car.
Well, I found another exit if we need to leave in a rush.
Oh, another one. Where?
I explain that it's up on the hill.
And by the time you finish up with that conversation, you are approaching your turn in the line. Some more people have kind of come up behind you. Some looking a little drunker than others, some looking a little harder than others, and more like they belong in this district and they're coming for for the fighting pit or gambling or whatever it is. Probably coming from this wall district itself. You come up, Cal. You notice that Arlen's face immediately is much more nervous than his cockiness before, as he's just approaching. He's like, "Good evening, my good man. We have come tonight to take part in some gambling. We've brought some money, and we'd love to participate in tonight's affairs."
Wiswick's gonna chime in just to mess with him and be like,
Don't call him a good man. He doesn't like that. He's a bad man.
We have been here once before. We spent money, much gold, and we would like to partake in tonight's affairs. I believe the man who invited us last time was, oh dear. Yes, he was.
Too many details. Too many details.
Can we spend money here? And you see the guard kind of just starts like holding in laughter as he's just sort of like looking back to each of you. Yes, it's myself, my friend Florin here, Stellis or Tellus back there, and you see the dwarf is like, she's actually mouthing to the guy, I'm sorry. And my companions here, Cal, Curon, and Mr. Biscuit. And the guard is just looking at each of you, eyeing each of you up and down, scanning for your state.
Just happened.
All right. You can go in tonight. But we're gonna keep an eye on you. And you see him open the gates up some more, and you see Arlen's like, yeah, yes, of course, good sir, and I thank you for letting us enjoy the festivities tonight. And here you go, good sir. And he's like reaching up for a pocket to put 2 pieces of gold in, and the guard is just like, he just grabs his wrist and has him drop it in his hands.
We're in that line. Were we in that line for a minute?
I'd say you definitely could have been in that line for a minute.
Yeah, I would like to figure out that man's level.
Level? Okay.
Yes.
So I guess considering in the terms of like player level, I'd say he's probably his like strength in relation is probably level 5, I would say.
Okay. I could find out something else, but I'm good.
Okay. All right. So Arlen passes through the gates, and you can slowly follow if you would like through. And what you see out here, once you're in Wiswick, you immediately are familiar with the place. You can see you came here during the day, so everything is lit up now by a combination of what appear to be magical lights in certain areas, little floating light enchantments and torches. You see there's a lot of shanty town that leads up to that area that you saw. And as you're walking up this way, everyone, there's people, mingling about. It's by no means crowded. You see some people gathered around, some people who might call this home, and then some who are just walking amongst the streets. You see people drinking in a circle outside of one of the warehouses. The first warehouses you see on the left, there is the scale and coins. And you see Ireland's like, yes, that I believe is where some of the extensive gambling is done, if you are interested in that. And then he points to his right and he says, that, my friends, is the fighting pits where the brawling happens. He looks forward. He says, "Those other two warehouses, I don't know what the butcher's block is. So I don't want to know. The needle and thread, I understand to be some sort of medical facility. They send some people there when they get too drunk. Haven't been there myself." But and then way up and ahead is the Amber Thistle. That, my friends, I do not believe we'll be able to get into tonight. Exclusive invitations only. It's the VIP tavern. They said to have their own fighting pits in there that are real harsh, real challenging. So, what I thought, since you lot seem really strong, I don't know, you've got a lot of swords. If we make ourselves impressive enough in the fighting pits down here, maybe we can get into the fighting pits up there. I don't know if they're running a show tonight, but I think we've got a chance.
Now that sounds promising. I don't like the word VIP not including me. You know.
Exactly. I've been spending the last month trying to find out how to get in there. Nothing other than personal invitation by the folk who run this area. But you just hear Tellus at this point. It's like, all right, that's enough talk. I think we should get into a scrap. And then Florin's just like, yeah, we can do that. It's fine. It's whatever. But Arlen's like, he leans over to you, Cal, and says, I've heard secrets though about that needle and thread place. I heard that they've got some magic users in there, concocting potions, selling them throughout town on the harsher side of things. So I don't know, if we can make our way in there, we might be able to find something interesting.
Potions for fun or potions for like
I don't know.
actual? Okay.
I don't know. I've heard many things. But I've also heard sometimes they've got some interesting items in there. I heard of a bloke probably about a month and a half ago. He went there. He came back. He seen quite this crazy rod that he bought there, or wand, I guess it was really. And it's a real hilarious tool. Every time he waves it at someone, they can't help but smile, and they can't stop smiling until he waves the wand at them again. It's hilarious to use on commoners.
Yes, that sounds excellent. Cal's like starting to like not keep up the bit anymore because we've used them for what we needed now.
Yeah, you definitely don't need them anymore. You're in here. All right then, shall we head into the fighting pits? We can get a drink and then find ourselves settled in, figure out what the deal is tonight.
Yes, let's.
All right,
and
then.
With that, I'm like gonna let them go first, and I'm gonna like look around for timber, A, and B, look to my colleague and friend John Biscuit, and like with my eyes ask him like, we need to go up there, right? Not in here.
I just nod.
Kieran's gonna whisper to Cal and Elvish, maybe if we win some fights here, we can be invited to the Thistle's private ring.
Cal responds, it also wouldn't hurt to he doesn't have an accent in Elvish. It also wouldn't hurt to maintain our cover by doing other things than instead of beelining towards our target.
Before I jump in,
I hated that choice. Okay.
Timber, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm still stalking them. I would have blinked over the wall
Oh, okay. That's why you asked.
Blink.
I think that Jet repositions and is now heading to just hang out on the roof of the Amber
I get it.
Thistle.
Hang.
Yeah, hang
Yeah,
out.
totally. And you know what Jet can see is what you saw before, that the Amber Thistle kind of is the largest building here, and it's at the end of the cliff, so the cliff looks down to the riverbanks. You'd also see there's another path that leads down to the riverbanks that is in between the meat cleaver warehouse and the fighting pit warehouse. So there is another way down. There seems to be some similar wooden doors there, but there is a passageway that leads to the riverbanks that Jet would see as he's flying up and heading towards the Amber Thistle. Timber.
One other thing is I would also try to be, while stalking, even though I'm trying to be out of sight, if I do hear anything about location of Scarlet or Timber doesn't know about the Amber Thistle place. He knows of the items, but he doesn't know of the place.
Yes, he does.
Oh, okay.
Well,
and
Dasha
he knows-
mentioned that the Amber Thistle is the main building
okay.
where the items were.
In that case, then right. In that case, he would just kind of be keeping an eye out for how populated that area looks, and possibly prisoner locations.
Okay. Give me a perception check or investigation check.
Perception, definitely, because I'm listening, because I'm a dog. Woof, woof. Ooh, oh, that's a dirty. That's a nice 18 plus. It's a 24.
24. Okay.
Si, senor.
Also, give me a stealth check.
Oh, right. 27.
Okay.
I was really hoping to get it under that 25, so just passively Kieran's like, oh, there's Timber. But I'm not gonna
All right. Okay, Timber. So with the perception check first. So, do you want to be stalking them from the left or the right side of
From the
the
left,
gap?
Probably.
So the left is where the gambling is, and the right is where the fighting pit is.
I would probably be going around closer to where they are. Probably stalking around there.
Okay. So as you're
Well, actually, take that back. Do I have vision? How close knit is everything? Do I have sight on them?
So, I mean, the total thing is the road itself is pretty wide, but it's not there's not multiple alleyways necessarily. If there are, they're the crude paths between the shanty towns, the shanty tenements. So behind each warehouse, there's a second path, but it's a really tight path, and you can't keep an eye perfectly on the main road from it. So most activity is in that central wider road that leads up to the Amber Thistle.
Okay. So I'd probably do the right side if...
Oh, that's a nice map.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
You got the Amber Thistle up there. Oh. And they're all down here.
Got it. Understood. Yeah, I might do the left side. No, I would do the right side and then just make sure that they're going about their thing.
Okay. So from the right side, as far as keeping an eye out or listening for actual syndicate members who are about, I'd say that you would notice, because from the right side you could see the first gatehouse that leads down to the lower tier of the riverside, and you notice there's a few syndicate members kind of guarding that, but also just sort of sitting around. They're not really super active. They're kind of just one of them sitting on a little stump, and there's a little fire, a brazier between them, and they're just hanging out occasionally, looking around and keeping an eye out. You don't hear particular words coming from them. You'd have to get closer. You notice every now and then you can hear inside one of the houses some movement, some action, but very little. Most of them seem pretty empty, almost like this one time was a shanty town that no longer has many people living in it other than the syndicate themselves. So it's very much like no lights coming from the windows. Occasionally hear like some scraping inside. That's probably some rodent, clawing through the rubble and debris.
The rat's gonna die. Sorry.
This is definitely like at one point was the Tempest Hold slum district that they have just taken over entirely, and maybe a handful of people live here, but most of them have moved into the Squall district out of fear of the syndicate itself. Now it's the warehouses are really the main meat of what's happening here.
All right.
But you can keep stalking them if you'd like. They've stopped between the gambling house and the fighting pit. You would have noticed them. You would have known where they were heading, probably to the fighting pit area. Would you all like to enter into the fighting pit area?
Wiswick's gonna stop Cal and look up to him and say,
Listen, I don't mind checking this place out for a little while. Maybe we can make some money. But I don't think it's smart for you to go fight. Like that other guy said, like we want to save our strength for the battle ahead. I think that we should use you as some sort of prize fighter. Maybe I could talk you up or something. Perhaps we can even get into the Amber Thistle from just flashiness.
Yeah, it's certainly possible, and I could definitely. Sword fighting isn't the only fighting I know, luckily, so I can always disguise what it is I do. I'm not as good, and I haven't done it in a while, but we could definitely try.
In between these two buildings is a pathway that leads down to the river and another entrance into Amber Thistle with an entrance similar to the one we've already gone through. Maybe that's where the regular, the customers go in. It could be easier than going through the front door.
Understood. Let's use that as a. If we don't get an invite somehow, let's use that as the next move then.
okay, I nod and I want to go in and go immediately to wherever people are placing bets.
Okay. So you all enter into the space.
I dare say.
I dare say.
Welcome to the right place.
Welcome to the arena.
So immediately,
Sunday.
what you see inside is essentially the aesthetic of an abandoned warehouse with several like silken curtains hanging from the ceiling down, creating a very interesting aesthetic. It's still quite seedy. There's a lot more people in here than you thought. It was pretty quiet from outside, mainly because the bard playing appears to be as drunk as the people in there, and he's just sort of strumming on the lute best he can, like. And you notice there's a circular ring in the center with a dividing fence. Sand in the middle that's all scuffed up. You can actually see there's some blood in the sand right now. As you can see in the opposite side of the room, there's this big looking bruiser who has his shirt off, and he's got like sweat all over him. They're dragging another guy out. Clearly this guy just knocked this guy out. He is a very probably 7 foot tall human. But he looks a little different he has no hair. No facial hair, no hair on his head, no chest hair. His skin is it's very pale, almost gray. And he's just like his muscles are massive. And he's wearing just the pants, and he's just like laughing. He's got a He's got a mustache that's got some wax in it that twirls it on the sides, much like Stefan's. I did say he had no hair, but he has a mustache. But people are all gathered around him cheering, and then you see there is a bar on the left side where people are purchasing drinks, but also it seems like it's divided in half, where there's one half where there's someone serving out drinks, and the other half where there's someone who is taking bets, it looks like, for the next fight. There are, you actually notice, weirdly enough, there are these hanging wired lights that give off this very high buzzing sound. The only person here who would have ever seen these before is Cal. It's Gwyn electrical lights.
Infernal Gwyn magic.
There's not a lot of them. There really is only like 4 lines coming off of the center of the ceiling. Cal, you want to give me a perception check real quick?
It's an 8.
Okay, you start to look for like the Gwyn generator that's lighting them, but you think it's not important anymore. As you could move on, what would y'all like to do?
I'm gonna follow the group, but specifically Tellus.
Yeah, Kieran is just following the group's lead.
Okay.
Wiswick wants to bet, so if it's the same location, then yeah.
Okay, so you see Arlen is beelining for the bar. There's a few people there. You see there's a human man on the other side of the bar who's got these mutton chops that lead into the stash, hair swept back, black hair, as he's doling out drinks real fast. Arlen comes up to me and goes, I'll take 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll take 6 ales for me and my compatriots. You see Tellus pushes forward and she's just like, I'll take also a shot of ski before I register for the fights.
I look at her and I still in this stupid role I'm in. I go, you know what? Make it 2.
That's what I like to hear. The pretty man wants to fight too. The bartender is just like, all right, fucking townies. And he's, gets the drinks ready, brings you the 2 shots of ski. The glassware is not the cleanest. It's, the whiskey is definitely not the best quality. As you smell it, it's just like, oh, that's just like pure White Wolf ski. And you can take. Do you want to take the shot with Tellus?
Yeah. I'm not
All right. You cheers and drink the shot. It burns like hell. And then you see her. She's like, "All right, this way. Pretty man will register with the fighting the fighting pit over here." And she leads you away. It's not the same place as the bar. You walk around the ring and go over to where you saw that the larger fighter being kind of bombarded by people cheering for him. You see her, she's like looking around. Oh, where's the little bastard? Oh, he must be. There he is. And you see she makes a beeline towards this gnome. Not a deep gnome. It's a surface gnome. They have a big, just bushy hair that goes all the way down their back. That is this tangled nest of brown hair. You notice there's like twigs and roots all throughout their hair. And you see they have a very dirty face, like they've not washed in weeks, just like like dirt stains, dried mud. And they're wearing like a very nice vest over a wavy, puffy tunic with these. Their clothes are very nice despite how dirty they look. And she just goes up and goes, Morris, is that you? And he kind of looks over and says, Oh, Tellus, you fighting tonight? Are you fighting tonight? Oh, this'll be a sight. All right. Come over here. We can fill out your registration papers and you can put in your 2 gold deposit. Oh, this is gonna be good. Who's your friend here? And he looks back up at you, Cal. She's like, oh, this is Cal. Well, introduce yourself. You can talk for yourself.
Yes, I'm Cal. Hello. I'd like to. I think I'd like to. I'm looking for a scrap, as it were. Feigning a slight drunkenness as well. Still.
Am I seeing this? Am I there?
No. Actually, you wouldn't see this because it's on the other side of the fighting ring.
Okay.
He's like, oh, all right then. We'll just need to. You just need to fill out this paper. Nice. He hands you a piece of paper and hands you a quill, and he's just like, all right, just sign your name on there. You don't need to read it. It's all fine.
I read it. Chuck,
It's
please
just-
describe every page.
Every page of this contract. No, it pretty much just outlines the rules of the fight. Saying that it's no weapons, bare fists, and that it is to the knockout, but they are not liable if you are to die in the ring,
Yeah,
and
makes
that
sense.
it's
Okay.
very possible for you to die in the ring.
What's the terms on magic?
No magic is allowed.
Yeah, I
would-
signed it.
would
I
say
signed
that, yeah. All right, and it's a $2 entry fee. If you win, there is
Dollar.
chance of
Dollars.
$2 golds. 2 golds. It's a 2 gold entry fee. With the chance of victory, bringing a larger pot of reward. All right. Take your papers.
Yep,
You
I
signed
have 2
up.
gold.
All right. He looks at his. What's your name? What should I announce you as, friend?
Homie. I didn't think of this.
Chad.
This is
Call
what
me
you
Castle.
need me for. This is what you need me for.
Call me Castle. Is that what you said?
Castle. Yeah.
All right, Castle. Interesting name.
I was about to say Cal. I was like, no.
All right.
I would have gone with the Undurian Centurion.
Fuck, that's so good.
All right.
That's
Can
like,
Kieran-
that's like his,
can Kieran
that's his like
see-
alternate. It's like his nickname for everyone. You know.
Can Kieran see this conversation happening?
I'd say Kieran would be able to because you're very tall.
Okay,
Um,
so he sees it and he's gonna lean down to Wiswick and he goes, he's calling himself Castle. I'm not trying to
Oh,
understand
no.
it.
That's terrible. What does that even mean?
I don't know.
There's no alliteration at all. All right. So he takes your paperwork, tells you to listen up for your name to be announced. We'll send someone over to warn you when you're about to be entering the ring. But for now, just enjoy yourself. Have a drink. Do whatever you want to get ready. And sends you away, and Tellus just kind of looks up at you like with a big grin on her face, excited to see you fight. You're all Wiswick. If you want to, you said you wanted to step up to where there's bets being taken.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, it would take a little while before, they would announce kind of like when someone enters in. So when you go up, they wouldn't really immediately just be like, have Cal on their list right away. But eventually they announce.
Well, I think that's kind of.
They announce Castle.
Yeah, that's kind of like my point. Like, I want to get there before they put his name on the list.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you could definitely do that.
I go up to the man who looks like he's in charge, who's taking the bets, and I put my huge sack of money on the counter. I keep my hand on it, and I say,
What does it take to? I mean, I'm new in town, but I've got a ringer. What does it take to get my man up against your strongest fighter?
You see the man at the betting table is just like, well, it's not too difficult to. If he enters and everyone else fails against the strongest fighter, eventually he'll be fighting the strongest fighter. It tends to be how it goes in these parts. It's a very simple system, not too complicated. So put your money down if you want on whoever your ringer is, and have him register over with Morris.
how much money can I put down on on Castle? Is there a limit?
We have no limit on our betting. We'll take all your gold.
Okay, I'm gonna put down. Cal, don't. Oh man, he's so. All right, yeah, we're gonna put down 400 gold.
400 gold on. What was the name again?
Castle.
Castle. I haven't heard of him yet, but I'm sure they'll be coming with his name and his matchup soon.
Yeah, his name might not be too flashy, but wait till you see his pecs.
Well, it's not. It's a pretty slow night, so I'm almost certain he'll fight our strongest man. Uh, so, grab yourself a drink, find a good seat, and the fighting will begin shortly. All right, so you can get drinks. You can, Arlen finds a.
Wait,
a spot.
wait. Hold on, slow down. What are my odds?
You don't know your odds because you paid for them before they're coming.
What do you mean? I would have to know my odds.
You can check in. You can check in for your. Well, he said you're trying to pay before they've even put his name on the list, so there's no odds yet. You're just putting money on someone that they're like, sure, if he's on the list, we'll make some odds and pay you out.
Well, I'm not gonna pay until I get my odds.
Okay, that's fine.
Because I might want to buy. I might want to spend more.
It's not going to be super high odds because they're not just sitting on a million gold pieces in this fighting pit.
You got me. Telling me there's no limit.
I know. I probably should have changed that because they definitely don't just have like the ability to pay out like several $400 bets on people, even with 2-to-1 odds.
Well, hey, I'll double down if it gets me in the next stage.
I guess that's true. All right, so you're all kind of finding a spot in this strange warehouse fighting pit, kind of thinking to yourselves, what are we doing? Like, how is this going to lead us inside? As Cal is registering to fight, Wiswick is paying, betting on him. Timber, you're outside scanning around.
Once they actually went inside, and after not getting anything, he probably would make his way to the Amber Thistle, blinking when need to be out of sight, and still keeping the ear out for maybe possibly Scarlet's location or where.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's to be frank about it, it's a very complicated situation where you don't really hear anyone talking about someone imprisoned inside.
Right.
It's not really generally a thing that's going to be talked about on the streets.
No.
Nor do many of them even probably know that she's in there. But you could definitely make your way towards the Amber Thistle. I'd say keeping to the dark, you would notice that there is an envoy that arrives from the causeway that leads up the side of the cliff. They open up those gates, and you do notice there are these 4 heavily armed guards in plate armor who are walking, all flanked around this one individual who's a very, most of them is hidden under a cloak, but this is a very nice fur around the shoulders, black cloak leading down. You notice some swept back black hair as this individual is being led kind of in the back streets up towards the Amber Thistle. Given what Bogdasha, Bogdasha didn't say this. You just noticed this.
Okay. Does he have any scarring on his face?
Give me a perception check.
10.
Hard to tell.
Okay.
Before anything else,
You're gonna have Jet roll a perception check to see if you saw Timber.
No.
we're gonna check in with Scarlet.
Oh well.
I was gonna see if Jet was gonna just spontaneously combust because the DM decided it.
Seems that way.
Yeah. Jet does a saving throw, and just dies. No matter what he rolls.
Damn it, not again!
The hidden feature of bats. Roll a 1d20 every minute. And on a
Scarlet.
1, it dies.
Scarlet, you kind of, this is several hours later. So you're kind of coming out of like a fevered episode due to the pain.
Mhm.
You look around and you hear upstairs. There's no longer like the sounds of setting up. You hear the sounds of people. Not a lot of people. Just muttering upstairs. You can just looking through up at the crack. That single line, the only light in the room. As you're So you're looking up to it, you hear a door open.
On my level.
On your level. So what do you do?
I try to sit up and turn in the direction of the door opening so I can try and see who it is.
Give me a perception check with disadvantage.
12.
You see a few silhouettes. As they're staring at you from this doorway. You can see some faint torchlight behind them, kind of giving off this silhouette. You hear the voice of Thatcher say, "Away from the bars. Back away from the bars."
Is he talking to me?
Yeah.
I'll scoot back as best as I can.
Okay. Each one hurts quite a lot as you see him step forward, and the two silhouettes come around him. There's nothing particularly notable about them. Person stepping up behind him has a torch, and hands it to one of the people, and they go up, and you hear the jingling of keys. Now, I'm going to have some of my people take a look at you. Try to splint up that leg. I can see it's broken.
You broke it.
Well, my guards did, but no, I'm not so sure what to do with you now, Rowan. But I think there's more information we can get out of you.
I have nothing left to say to you.
So you see these two figures come up to the bars, and you see they have a key, and they open up the gates, and they come in, and you're fearful of them because they're strangers and they're working for them, but they do seem to start to examine your wounds, and that's all they're doing. They're not hurting you or anything. They're just sort of examining. You see them pulling out sort of makeshift healer's kits. They're not doing any magic to heal you. You see they kind of grab your leg and start to feel, and it hurts as they're feeling for the break and trying to reposition it. You see Thatcher steps forward, and you can now see the familiar face. He pulls up a chair, a stool, and sits down in front of the bars as they're working on your legs. Do you think your friends are going to come for you?
I honestly don't know.
Well,
I'm giving them much reason to trust me.
Well, the gnome didn't seem too satisfied with your performance upstairs. Tell me, Scarlet, Rowan, he doesn't know Scarlet. You're looking for someone here. What did you think you would find?
I already told you I'm looking for my brother.
Hmm. Peculiar thing to carry around, a blunted, incomplete dagger. You see, he just pulls out the dagger.
What are you doing with that?
We searched through your things, and I thought this was strange. Why carry around a broken dagger?
It's none of your business.
I think everything you have is part of my business since you've snuck it in here. Your friend, or at least former friend, tried to steal our belongings. All right. Tell me, your friend seemed so interested and knowledgeable. What do you know about this? You see, his other hand comes up, holding the pallid mask. Freely holding it, something you've not seen anyone do.
I've seen it once before. It controls people.
What do you know about the men who took your brother?
He burned them.
What do you know about what they did with him?
Nothing. Nothing.
Give me a quick perception check.
Disadvantage?
Yes.
Oh, 19.
Oh, okay.
A 19 and a 14.
I'd say as you're kind of in and out of this pain, there's like a moment where they like push your leg into a position that they start to wrap and bind it, and but through the clarity of the pain, you look and you can see the details of the mask. So you remember the mask that Orlin had certain features across it. This one's also been marked up quite a bit. You never got a chance to see the one that was on Jorhen's face, because that one was destroyed before it could even be recovered into absolute dust. This one has it's similarly looks like it's made from wood. It has the two eyes carved into it. They're not eye holes to see through. They're eyes carved into it that have sort of like, they almost look like they have fake painted on eyes over it. And then you see there's several like teardrops all across it that are like burned, like wood burned into it. It's made from that same sort of white bone wood. You would notice down the center is it looks like a jagged line moving down, almost like a lightning bolt. And there's just the faint glimmer of silver all up it. Peculiar looking. Reminds you almost... give me an insight check.
Disadvantage, or is this one straight?
Disadvantage.
5.
It reminds you of Pallid Mask. You think for a moment it seems weird, but you don't really can't really figure out why. The pain is too much. He seems rather curious and wildly interested in my belongings, particularly this one.
It's because we've seen it before and we're trying to understand it.
And you see him lean forward at this. Where did you see one of these before?
I don't remember.
Surely you can remember, Rowan.
I actually don't remember.
The Archdruid.
Yeah,
Imagine that.
Thank you. Thinking a little harder. Imagine said. That's where we saw it.
Oh, down in Tressex.
Yes.
Who had it? Where is it now?
Why do you want to know?
I don't think you are in the position to ask questions like that, Rowan.
We broke
Things. Oh, go ahead. You broke it.
it. We broke it.
Where are the pieces?
Why are you so interested in it? You have one. Why do you want another one?
Well, your companions seem to know what this was, and if there are more out there, I'd like to know. You see, this thing, this aberration has caused me great pain.
Did you wear it too?
I've worn it. Yes. Yes, I have.
Is that what made you as despicable as you are?
No. No, I beat this thing.
Beat it.
It is not me.
How?
I think you've given me quite a bit to think about. How was her leg? And you feel one last as they tighten the splint on your leg. And they nod to him. He looks to you and just says, I think, Rowan, that this is going to be a lot more painful before it becomes easier. I don't know how much you're willing to share, or how much I'm willing to share.
I just
Maybe.
supposed to sit down here until you decide what to do next.
That is exactly what you're supposed to do. I don't know. I had no plan of you stepping into my home this afternoon. I need time to think of what to do for you. Plus, there's a very special guest coming within the next 2 days that I really want you to meet. I really want you to meet, because I think it might bring you some catharsis. It seems to be what you're looking for. With your lack of vision, your single-mindedness drilled into you by the court, I think I can finally give you what you want.
All I want is to see my brother. Will you let me see him, just so I know he's alive?
I don't know yet. Maybe. I don't know if he's alive, really.
Yes, you do. Don't lie to me.
And he'll smile at you at that. And he'll stand up and he'll look at the dagger one more time.
Don't break it.
All this looks like is something you've already broken, Rowan.
It's not broken. It's
Perhaps a broken promise. And he will throw it on the ground as hard as he can, and you'll watch as it just shatters the blade. You see him kind of straighten out, look up above, and he says, well, I suppose my guests are waiting. Make eye contact with you one last time, and then you watch as he, his other hand, says, oh, we'll talk soon. We've got a lot to talk about still, especially when my friend comes. But if you'll excuse me. And then you watch as he puts on the pallid mask, which immediately just seems to bind to his face. So he just looks up at you, and there's just this the same creepy pallid mask, the dead eye staring back at you. So he just gives you one last cock of the head. You can tell he's grinning under there, even though you can't see the face.
What's happening up there?
Oh, nothing to worry about. As he turns around, steps back into the darkness, the medics that are around you stand up, step out, lock the door behind them as they leave. And once again, you're alone in the dark, as the torchlight vanishes behind the door that is shut and locked. Once again, you're all alone. A single beam of light cascading down. Is there anything you would like to do alone in the dark?
I want to try and get over to the bars, and I want to see if I can reach any of the pieces of the dagger.
Okay. Give me a acrobatics check or a sleight of hand.
Acrobatics, a lot better. 15.
15. You reach through and your hand is just barely touching one of the pieces of the shattered, blunted dagger. You're just barely able with one finger kind of pull one shard towards you and grasp it and bring it in. Just a small little shard about the size of a quarter.
She'll just hold it, looking at it, and in just a complete sense of hopelessness, she'll like grip it really tight, not caring if it's cutting into her hand, and she'll just break down crying.
Okay. You weep into the darkness around you as you hear steps up as Eredwolf Thatcher leaves and ascends above, wearing the pallid mask. We will cut back to the fighting ring. Wiswick, just for your knowledge, I'm going to say you have 100 gold cap, and Cal has 3-1 odds against him.
Okay, that's much better. I'll take the 100 gold.
Match cut to Tellus beating her opponent.
Yep, you read my mind. You watch as we cut to the end as Tellus is just punching into the face of this half elven man, and just really wailing in. And you just see these two other half elves come running out and just pull her off of him, as you see Morris standing up on a very small makeshift stage, just announcing out, and that's Tellus beating the Dryad. Everyone, head over to the table to collect your winnings. For the rest of you, we're keeping your gold. But we all kind of knew where that was going. Now, next, what we've got is we got a newcomer. Don't really know exactly how to announce him, other than he's the one and only, seemingly. I think from Endurus. He wears very nice clothes. Castle! As you just hear people like, oh.
Yeah.
Huron is clapping very excitedly in the very back, just like by himself. Just, I know that guy. I know him.
Wiswick just puts his hat down and heads towards the stage.
All right, folks.
I've
He's got no
given-
microphone.
Yeah, no, he definitely doesn't.
All right, folks. All right, Cal, what did you like? I'm assuming you took your jacket off and your...
Yeah, oh yeah, no. Jacket, probably my shirt off, to be honest, because that seemed like the vibe here. Like, I'm not going to be like, yes, I'm wearing full leather armor.
Well, I almost wanted
like,
to see you, like, kind of like walk out there, like, rolling your tunic sleeves up. But you can go shirtless
that's
if
a
you
good one,
want,
too.
right?
I
Just,
feel like Cal
unbuttons
hasn't
halfway
been
down.
shirtless in a while, and
Okay.
so it might be time.
All
for
right,
him.
Cal is shirtless. He's got his the only thing he's wearing
His
is
strength has increased recently, so
his very
It
nice
looks
high-waisted pants. He
Cut
very
like a
much kind of
diamond.
he looks like a 1930s boxer. He's the way he's like he's ripped too. It's not like he's like massive. He's just really like tightly muscled and strong. Most of you haven't seen him without a shirt on. You're like, oh, that's right, Cal. He's strong.
Those
Uh,
calisthenics.
He
and
has
puncture
got some,
wounds all over his body.
Yeah, that's
Now,
true. Actually,
there's
you
a
would notice
huge
the
thing.
huge puncture scars from the time the Hydra bit
Yeah.
down into him, and you're kind of looking at those, thinking like, yeah, whatever they throw at him can't be that big of a deal. And they're like, all right, folks, we don't got a lot of contestants tonight. So, Mr. Newcomer, he's going to be going up against something real big. You all know him. You all love him. We've got the Goliath here tonight. We've got the one, the only Corrigan, the giant. As you see, that same man you saw who had just beaten the shit out of that other guy starts stepping out into the ring. Cal, you're in the center. You're kind of standing there waiting for him as you see the 7-foot tall man, essentially the mountain from Game of Thrones, walking into the ring. As people are now kind of turning their heads, looking like, oh, it was kind of a slow night. This should be interesting. All right, so you two have entered into the ring, sizing each other up. The ring itself, probably crossways, is 20 foot radius around. Bloodstained sand all around. You're probably about 10 feet apart from each other right now. As Morris is like, all right, you two, I think there's nothing better to say than let's get this started. 3, 2, 1, fight! If you would roll me some initiative, please.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Cal, come on!
18.
Should have given him Vigilant Blessing.
That's all right. This behemoth did not roll very high. What did you get?
18.
You are up first. All right, so you see he's just kind of cracking his knuckles and walking towards you, Cal, as you've got the head start on him.
Okay. I'm just gonna like let him get close, like almost maybe pretend that I'm like scared by his sheer size, and then as he starts feeling cocky, I'm gonna like just fucking jab him right in the nose, and just like immediately go to break his nose.
All right.
I'm not looking to Sean, so you know, I'm not looking to like tussle with this guy. I'm looking to freaking dismantle him. Just like I don't have time anymore for this bullshit. We're just we're cutting through the quick, cut to the quick here.
I know exactly what you mean. All right, so then what I'll treat this as then, more so than like a straight up fight, is more like a skill challenge. So you can pick a skill and say how you're going to use it to attempt to knock him out, or at the very least incapacitate him. And I'll say you're going to need at least 4 successes on the skill check in order to, in some way, either knock him out or bring him down so that you can be the winner.
All right, I'm gonna use acrobatics, I think.
Okay.
If this is a skill challenge, can we help in ways?
You'll have to be if you're going to cast spells in any way, you'll have to do stealth checks for them, because there is no magic allowed. But if you'd like to do so, I will ask you each to give me an initiative roll as well.
Okay, I can do that.
And you'll mainly be doing things that will be giving Cal advantage on his skill checks.
Right.
Okay. I got a 15.
Okay.
If things get bad, we can play it out, but Kieran's not going to intervene unless like Cal's getting the shit beat out of him.
Yeah, totally. So go ahead and Kieran, still give me a initiative roll.
5. That's with advantage, by the way.
Jeez. Okay.
Jesus.
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 For president.
All right, Cal. So you said you were doing an acrobatics, and you are attempting to leap up and get a clean shot to the face.
Yeah, right to his nose, break his nose to slow him down, and then because I'm using acrobatics as like the skill check, it'll be very like, because I'm sure he's massive, so if he connects with one swing, it's going to hurt a lot. So it's going to be all just stay out of his range, maybe dismantle his, stop his arms from moving, break shoulders or elbows and stuff. Yeah.
All right, absolutely. So go ahead and give me that acrobatics roll.
How's a 24 do you?
24. Okay, that'll definitely do it. So Cal, you sorry, I'm just trying to get the proper
Cassius Clow.
Yeah, come on, loot guy. Let's take it up a notch. Ragtime. Let's do it. Thanks, Steph.
Oh, that's not. It's not fast enough. I wish I had ragtime music. Alright. I'll get to that in a second. I
We'll
don't
cut
wanna
this
just-
out in post.
Yeah, we'll
Go.
cut this entirely out in post. No, no, but you do. You rush forward, you leap up, and you go for that swing, and you're able to do it quick enough. He was not expecting this. He was looking at you like, "Here's a little man. I'm gonna grab him by the neck and push his face in the sand and kill him." And then you just sort of like dart forward, dash up, leap up, and crack right in the face as he just kind of falls back, steps back a few paces. These giant steps shoot sand into the air. You stare up, determined, watching as he's like clawing at his face as there's a bunch of blood now coming out of his broken nose, definitely giving him disadvantage on his turn. And that is one success. Wiswick, you're technically up before he is.
So this might not happen this round, but Wiswick is going to try and use sleight of hand. Well, first he wants to see if he's got like, if he was the opponent. I forgot his name, but was the barbarian drinking anything before he came on stage, or is there like a tankard or something near the stage?
I mean, there's plenty of tankards near the stage.
But like one that I would specifically target as his.
No.
All
no,
right.
there's definitely
well,
not.
I pour some of my mushroom liquor into a tankard, and like I pour out whatever was in there and replace it with mushroom liquor, and I wait for my chance in between the rounds to try and offer him a swig.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Yep, I'm digging it too. Yeah. All right. So yeah. So then I'm gonna say you're holding your action until there's an opportunity for him to kind of like fall to the side of the ring and just be like and grab your drink and down it, right?
That's the plan.
Okay. All right. So it is his turn. Cal. He is clawing. He's kind of rubbing blood off of his face. He just looks at you and he's just going to charge at you as fast as he can and go for and try to tackle you to the ground and grapple you. So he is rushing towards you. This is not part of the skill challenge successes, but you can give a acrobatics check to avoid the grapple if you want, and he has disadvantage on his attempt to with athletics to grapple you. Okay, what did you get?
25.
25. All right. So
Is the second time I played D&D this week, and it's the second time I haven't rolled less than like a 15, except once.
less than a 15?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. These rolls are brought to you by Talon and Claw. Talon and Claw.
All right, 25. He got a 24. All right, so you you dart out from under him as he goes to tackle forward, and he just lands and face plants into the sand and skids up to the side of the ring, where Wiswick, you're standing there with a beer, looking like kind of like under the fencing of it. As you look, as he like looks up and goes,
Shake it off, big guy.
give me a quick persuasion check.
Oh God, I suck at this. 10.
He's not particularly smart, so let me give him a quick. He he looks at you and goes. He grabs it as he's just like embarrassed about this defeat, and he just smashes it on the ground and stands up and looks back at you, Cal. Kieran, I don't think Kieran is here, so he's not doing anything. Cal, you are back up.
I sprint away as fast as I can.
So he's probably. I'm imagining he's gonna come at me again. So I'm gonna like wait until he comes at me. If he goes to hit me, and if I can, we're gonna see how I do, because that'll determine how cool I describe this thing.
All right, let's go for it.
All right, I rolled under a 15, but it's a 14, so it's a 21.
Okay. All right, because I was like, 14. That doesn't succeed, but a 21 does. So explain to me how you the successful flourish.
Yeah, so he goes for the punch in. I grab his wrist with both hands, and because he's like the mountain, right? He's massive.
100%, yeah.
I'm doing that thing. I don't know what it's really called in real life. I'm doing that thing where like I basically I jump up and over his arm, and like tumble down like over with him. You know what I mean? It's like
you use his weight to try to fling him back
it's
over
like
you, essentially.
Aikido, or I don't know real martial arts, so I apologize to anyone. Yeah, basically, and I want to like bring his arm backwards so it either dislocates his arm or breaks his elbow. Like
Okay,
over
so
his
you're
back. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I see what
There's
I
like
see
a
what
thing
you
that
Are you going for an arm lock?
I can see.
Instead of that, I'm just breaking his arm and then dropping it.
All right. I will say that you are successful in this endeavor as you grab his wrists and you maneuver with that 21 acrobatics roll to use his own weight against him and pull his arm and weight over himself and you, and you see it kind of like twists him, and you hear a quick as something broke in there as he just sort of like you let him go and he kind of like tumbles to the side, and you can see him like as he's like his arm is kind of like limp on one side, and he's just staring at you, kind of like fury in his eyes, like, and then also kind of like a as he's just kind of going, and he's just you can tell there's so many conflicting things going on in his head. He's like, I think I have to puke. My arm's broken. My nose is broken, and I've never been madder in my life.
Not because Cal is cocky, but because he knows it's a good ploy. I pump my eyebrows at him just to like goad him.
As he just charges towards you. Wisbek, there's nothing you want to do on your turn, right?
No.
Yeah, you've done enough. As he's charging towards you, Cal, and he's going to go for another grappling move on you, but with one arm this time. So there is a disadvantage there.
Contesting acrobatic again?
Yes. What did you? 19. So he does get you this time with a 21. So he does grab you, Cal, with one arm now, and like he is not doing well, but he grabs you, and you're like, this is pure adrenaline, anger, strength, that he just sort of like lifts you up by an arm and just sort of like swings you back, and he just for a moment. Give me a dexterity saving throw.
23.
All right, you're able to kind of not somewhat control your landing to not have your arm be broken or dislocated from your shoulder as he's yanked you across and kind of thrown you against the side of the ring. You hit pretty hard on your chest against the wooden rafter. You see like there's a bunch of like drunks in your face right now that are just like slapping your shoulders like, yeah, man, keep going. You're doing great. Someone does offer you a beer like Wismic did to the other guy.
I don't take it.
You're like, I don't know. Why would you do that? Like, why are you doing this? As you kind of turn around and kind of have that dazed for a moment as you see him getting there, like getting ready to charge you again, which will come to your turn again. You have 2 successes at this point. You are 2 away from knocking the guy out.
18.
What are you doing? Acrobatics again?
Yeah.
Okay, 18 is we'll do it. Yeah. That's just gonna make it.
So if he's gonna charge, I'm gonna duck, and I'm just gonna sweep the leg.
You're just gonna what?
Sweep the leg, Sean.
Sweep the leg. Okay. All right. So you watch as he's getting ready to charge you. Now you see there's some foam coming from the sides of his mouth as he just is rushing towards you, and like for a moment you think he's gonna headbutt you, but then you just make it out of the way because you just barely get out of the way of it as you take the moment to sweep his legs, and he trips and his head goes and slams right into one of the posts of the wooden fence, cracks it right in half as his head goes through it, and knocks a bunch of people back, spilling drinks everywhere as people are like, Come on! As you hear in the distance, Morris just like, oh, this is gonna be an upset. Um, as that is another victory. As you see him kind of like shaking his head on all fours, trying to get up to resume his assault. Wiswick, is there anything you want to do at this point?
I just want to know what type of hallucinations this guy is seeing.
Oh, he is. It's light right now, but it's gonna get real bad later. He's
He's got to let it circulate. Yeah, I think I'm going to go back to the guy who I placed the bet with, and just tap my fingers on the counter, just waiting for my payout.
He's just like, well, at least everyone else is gonna lose this bet. All right, Cal. So he is going to, at this point, he is going to grab the broken post and rip it out of the ground and come charging at you with it. Just absolutely furious, doesn't even care about the rules anymore. As he's going to go for a swipe on you with it. You can attempt to avoid it with an acrobatics roll if you would like.
18? 17. Shit. 17.
Does not succeed.
Fuck me.
As he just hits you as hard as he can with it, like a baseball bat swing, and you just go flying back to the side, taking 8 points of bludgeoning damage as you kind of skid off to the side of the arena, casting sand everywhere, getting plenty of sand into people's drinks, and they're all just mad that their drinks are getting ruined, while others are like, Castle! And it is your turn for another skill check.
Oh, yeah. Okay. 25?
25 will do it. How do you want to knock this giant out?
So he just threw me into the other side of the fence, basically. He hit me so
Pretty
hard
much,
that I
yeah.
staggered into it. I'm going to get up on the fence like if I were standing on the ropes at a WWE, backwards. And like as he comes in to charge me again, I'll backflip off it and just kick him right in like the face.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So Cal, you kind of like get yourself up, shake yourself off. You've got some abrasions and bruises. You get yourself up and you see him grinning wildly as he comes rushing towards you, throws the posts at the ground. He's gonna come up and grab you and just try to smash into the ground again. You see him. You get up on the fencing. You kind of staring out into the audience, where you can see they're all kind of looking at you like, "What's he gonna do now?"
I give them a wink because I think that might get me an invite to the place I need to go.
As you wink to them, they all immediately are like, "Castle!" And he comes up. You use your training, and you leap back, and you at an exact point, you look down as he's looking up at you, about to go for a grab on you, and you sweep the leg and just kick him right across the face. Slow motion, raging bull. Blood shoots out the mouth. As he stumbles for a few moments, immediately pukes up the mushroom whiskey all over his chest, and then just as the sand plumes up in the air. There's silence in the fighting pit for a moment, and then it erupts into cheers and chanting of "Castle, Castle, Castle." I don't know what expression they could come up with this quickly. But you are victorious. Morris gets up in there. He's like, "Okay,
King of the castle, king of the castle.
No hassle.
Castle takes the king. Castle takes the king.
all right then. Well, we're happy to have taken all of your money except for one lucky little better. So please, if you'd like, go up and collect your earnings. But better luck next time, everyone. The giant has been slain by Castle, as there is erupting cheers, as you're just sort of like, oh god, like you didn't take a lot of damage, but like you're like, ooh. Like you got the
My bell
wind
got
knocked out of
rung,
you.
as it were.
For sure. Um, as you start to head out the exit of the arena up towards Morris, who's like, "Hey, I didn't think you'd pack such a punch." Uh, all right. I suppose this is yours. I was. If you want to stay around, I suppose you do. I mean, you can fight Tellus if that's the next round. You can fight Tellus. Or do you want to
See-
forfeit that?
You see,
You two are friends, right?
yeah, Tellus and I are friends, and I don't think it'd be a fair fight either way, right? Either we would throw it on purpose and bet on each other, or what now? Do you have anyone a little more interesting to fight, maybe?
Give me a persuasion roll. With
Yeah.
advantage for winning so
Thank you.
spectacularly.
Oh, thank you for the advantage, Sean. That was a natural one. But now, it's not. Now, it's a 21.
Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and take my money now.
Yeah, Wiswick, you get 300 gold.
I'd like a little bit of that.
You don't even know I bet on you.
You see, he's like, all right. Well, first of all, here's your earnings from that fight, splitting the grand prize with you and Tellus. He has 50 gold pieces in the back. A little more interesting of a fight. Now, I saw when you walked in, you had some weapons on you. You looking for something a bit more deadly? More glory?
I've been known to compete at a little bit of higher level on occasion.
Well, I can't say for certain if I can get you in, but I can try. I heard there's a guest in the Amber Thistle tonight, and the boss is looking to have a little show for him. Maybe I could get you on the list.
Please do. I'm only in town for another day or so anyway.
All right, then. Meet me outside the Thistle. On the right side entrance. Give me a half hour to go talk.
I nod.
All right, this should be
And
interesting.
Go back to my friends and put my clothes on.
Yep, Cal, you're able to clothe yourself, put your coat back on. You are sweating, but you're kind of like, oof. You see Arlen just immediately hands you a cold beer, and he's like, that was spectacular. I've never seen such skill in the pits. It's usually just the brute force. It's stunning. Florence,
I take it with good grace and just go, no, it's not anymore. No, it's not. Come on.
okay, as you rejoin Kieran and Wiswick.
Wiswick seems to be stuffing something into his his bag. He says,
Man, Kyle, you could have done better. We gotta get you on some taller. We gotta have you fight some scarier opponents. That guy was a pushover.
Well, I do have an invite to the Amber Thistle now. in
All
half
right, that's
Wow,
great.
that's what we were looking for.
hour. Exactly. And to be honest, frankly, Wiswick, I haven't bare knuckle boxed in like 6 years.
I thought you did resoundingly well. That was a
Thank
very
you.
good
I mean,
fight.
yeah, it's drilled in, right? That's why you practice. But yeah, no, my Arlen would have been embarrassed that I took a hit like that.
I wish Timber was here. He would really put on a show.
He would have done far better than I. I don't know why he's not here.
He might have scared away
say
some
quietly.
of the patrons, though.
Oh, come on. He's like the, what's called... There's always gotta be like a crazy character in the ring, right?
Look, I
It's
think
not,
we should,
it's exciting.
we should kill another 15 or 20 minutes here so as not to arouse suspicion and then move out.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's
You
not
would-
forget we have a job to do.
You would notice Morris leaving out the back and likely heading. Timber, you would actually, unless you've moved on towards the Thistle, right?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Timber would just kind of be just recognizing where people are going, like, what are people getting from each place to recognize like what each place means. Just gathering information about
Yeah.
the area. That's really it.
So I'd say, I mean, you kind of kept an eye on that envoy that was heading towards the Thistle.
Yes.
You see them enter in through the front. You notice the Thistle itself has several guards around it tonight, or bruisers that are kind of stationed at different points along the kind of wraparound fence around it. You see the envoy approaches, the two doors open up, and you would actually see Thatcher step out. In kind of like your hidden position. If you want to give me a quick perception check.
I wouldn't know what he looks like though.
No, but I still want to get a perception check from you.
Oh, it's pretty good.
I mean,
that is
he
a
might
21.
He might know a general description because I did explain everything to the whole group before he left.
So
Okay.
you notice the doors open. Two bruisers follow behind a very skinny, gaunt-looking figure, about 6 feet tall. You see that, like I described, Thatcher, that greasy hair back. But what would really draw your attention is the fact that he's wearing the pallid mask. Would probably be the thing that immediately is like you like sniffing around, and then you're like, oh shit. You see this individual step out. He doesn't have his long coat on. He just has the vest on, these pinstripe pants, and his tunic on the outside, the sleeves rolled up. As he comes out with his arms held out wide, you can see that there are like knives at each side, kind of in like, sort of like how cops have those gun holsters, but he has knives in them. As he's holding his arms out to this well-cloaked figure, who kind of seems to look around and he's tired of whatever this guy is saying to him. But you would notice that pallid mask, and then you would notice him welcome him in, and they'd all step inside.
I didn't see whether or not he had a burned face or not.
Oh, with the 21, this figure does not have a burned face.
Oh, okay.
You would notice that he has a very pointed goatee wrapped around. Once you see his face, because you would have seen it as he was like looking around, like looking out for people watching him as he enters in. But looking around for other things, you would notice there's not a terrible lot of activity around the butcher warehouse. And it's probably the house that has the least lean-tos and scaffolding all around it, and shanty towns. You would notice a few people. You would notice one person dragging a drunk into the needle and thread warehouse. And then maybe a few people entering and leaving there. And if you waited long enough, you would see another drunk dragged in there as well.
Okay.
All right. So, is there anything you'd like to do specifically, Timber?
No. Just keep waiting for. Or get. I imagine Ed spent so much time that they will be.
Yeah, you'd
going
eventually
to,
notice them.
yeah.
All right, so the rest of you are leaving the fighting pit warehouse.
I mean, yeah,
After a
if
few
they
drinks and
Yeah,
a show.
we are killing another 15 minutes just doing nothing, nursing a beer maybe, and then we're gonna go.
Okay. Do you want to leave behind the trust fund kids? Okay, so you find a moment when they are truly in the drink and slip away from them unnoticed as they are distracted by those around them, leaving behind the ever-charming Arlen and his companions. Tellus is busy getting real drunk with the people around there for her victory. But you slip out into the night street. With your goal on your mind. You can hear the riverside. You kind of breathe in that fresh air after being kind of stuck in that crammed space. And you look up and you can see the longhouse that is the Amber Thistle up the road. And you can begin heading in that direction if you would like.
I would like.
Okay. So as you're walking up, you would notice kind of, it's probably around 1 o'clock at this point. You would notice there, a few drunks being dragged over to the needle and thread warehouse, kind of keeping what Arlen said in mind, Cal. But I would say at this point, Timber, you would notice them walking up towards the Amber Thistle.
Okay. Just keep an eye and try to follow them, but if I'm across the street or whatever, or try to just get in the building inconspicuously and we don't have to play it out. But
okay, I mean, they are going to be walking. So when you guys approach the Amber Thistle, you notice all the guards. First thing you notice. You notice out of all the windows, there are bright torchlight coming out. Cal, you start to head to the right side entrance that you were told about, which is on the opposite side of the way that Weaswick and Scarlet had gone in, and you would see there's like a side entrance, a side door, where you see Morris standing there with another tall individual who looks like they're an orc gentleman, wearing just as nice clothes as Fletcher. He has slicked back black hair, large tusks coming out, a very pale green skin, as he seems to be talking with Morris as you approach. And Morris kind of looks back at you, Cal, and kind of for a moment you see a grimace on his face as he's looking at you, like, fuck. And he's like putting his hands up to the orc as he starts walking over towards you, and he just goes, who are all these people?
Sorry, they're my coaches.
Yeah, I'm his manager.
Manager, coach.
I don't know if I can get all of you in.
Medic too, kind of. Is he is.
Let me go talk to the guy. See if I can get. I don't know, man. And you see he runs back over, and you see there's a, you can slightly hear Kieran. You can see kind of his lips saying like, "Hey, it's okay. They're with him. He's a good contender. It'll be fun for the warden to see this kind of fight. Showcase a little local talent." And you see the orc is kind of shaking his head. Morris comes running back and looks up at you, Cal, and goes, all right, I can get, you can have one more. One of you can come with him.
I look at Kieran and say,
It's best if you go.
Do you need anything? Any kind of... Actually, I really don't have anything.
I think I pull. I say,
Don't worry about me.
and I pull out a potion of healing and I hand it to Kieran and say,
Take this.
Eat from it.
You'll need it more than I.
And then in Undercommon, because I speak that, Kieran speaks that, he's gonna say to Wiswick basically like, I assume you'll be going invisible and entering from your previous way, correct?
I also say in Undercommon, there's a chance they
took measures against that, seeing as I already tried that once. Perhaps I'll try a different way getting in.
All right, well...
If not, Jet is watching the building. If you guys escape without me, I'll know where you went.
All right, sounds good. Be safe out here, friend. Keep an eye out for Timber. I haven't seen him, but I feel I sense his aura.
I scoff and say,
That old dog doesn't care about us anymore. He's off. He's off in an alleyway somewhere, probably eating garbage.
Kieran cocks an eyebrow and goes, I wouldn't think so little of our woven friend before turning back into Cal. Starting to walk.
Who understood none of this? It's just like,
As Morris is kind of looking at Cal like, Are they choosing who's going?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so Kieran comes up, going
Like I said, he's the manager. I don't.
and will say, the manager needs to speak about something with someone else, so I will be attending Fighter Castle in the ring.
Excellent. Make yourself comfortable. Go off to back to the fighting pits. I'm sure there's plenty of drink left to have. Your friends, as long as things go well and you fight as hard as you did in that pit, your friends should be joining you later tonight. Perhaps a little bit richer.
I look at the guy and say,
Thank you. I will wait there. Tell me, I've heard rumors about an enchantress. It sounds very interesting. Do you think you know where she is? Is she up in the thistle as well, or maybe I saw a lot of drunk people going into that other building. Perhaps she's in there curing them of their.
And you see, he gives you a look over and an eye, and he's just like, "Hey, you're a curious one. Maybe she'd want to talk to you. Yeah. Head over to the Needle and Thread. Ask for Kriya.
Thanks very much. You've been a big help.
Thank you.
and I
Have a great evening.
I go over to Kriya.
You too. You come with me." The orc looks back and says, "Which one's the fighter?"
I raise my hand.
When I bring you in, you'll be presented before Thatcher. You will give him a bow to his guests, and then you'll be brought back into the underchamber. And then we will tell you what you're up against. You go in the ring with only what's on your back and the weapons at your waist. You go 3 rounds. You win. Each round, a bigger pot. You die, you die.
Understood.
This way. And they bring you into a chamber, a dark room that's just lit by a few torch lights. You see it's just like the complete opposite of the fighting pit room. It's this small, dank, wood-boarded room where you see there's one guy there with just like a single keg of ale, and a few scraps of food. There's a bench for you to sit on that's just simple and hard. There are weapons on the walls.
It's like a green room.
It's essentially a green room.
Okay.
I didn't want to say we'll put you in the green room. No,
Yeah,
you're in the underchamber. It's a green room for very much like literally like in Gladiator, the Gladiator green room, where there's like stalls of weapons, and one guy who's sort of like, "Hey, you want a last drink?" Before I have you be presented to Thatcher, so you can get a lay of the land, I am going to check back in with Scarlet. So during this time, Scarlet, you would have heard all the commotion upstairs. There's a lot more people up there now. You would have heard a moment of silence where you would just have heard the muffled tones of Thatcher, like announcing out the warden's presence there. You wouldn't have been able to hear much of the business up there. But you have this brief moment in the dark as things are happening above. You hear some rats scuttle past. You are coming out of sort of a crying coma almost as you open up your hands, and you got dried blood on your palm from the few sharp pieces. The sharp parts of the dagger are from where it broke, not from the actual blade itself.
Yeah.
As you kind of open it up slowly, shaking your hand, shaking your leg, throbbing with pain, as you see the caked blood in there.
Do any of the pieces look big enough that I could try and pick a lock with them?
Give me an investigation check.
I rolled 2 natural 20s.
Oh, because you have disadvantage, yeah.
Holy shit, I'm taking a picture.
Holy crap.
Thanks, Talon Claw.
Brought to you by...
Brought to you by Talon Claw. Wow.
Scarlet.
Okay, wait. Investigation. I have a lot of that. 27.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You're muted.
You're muted.
I think you're muted, son.
Sorry. Oh, you start to think about, like, some of your instincts start to come back as this solid hour you had of just like weeping and running through Thatcher's words in your head over and over again, just sort of broken promise. This will get a lot harder. This will be a lot more painful as we move on. You get a lot of this emotion out, and then you kind of open your eyes, look at the piece, and you're just like, your instincts come back in, and you're just like, I gotta get out of here. I mean, it's you look and you see there is the shattered pieces of the dagger. There's some of them, due to the dullness of the blade and the fracture lines of it, I'd say maybe it would be very hard. But if you can get the hilt that's left, it has a jagged piece off of it. And if you can find another piece that you can use, like a lockpick,
Mhm.
there's a chance it'll be very hard. It'll have a very high DC if you can reach and get those to
Okay.
pick the lock.
She's got nothing else to do, so let's give it a shot.
Okay.
So what do you need?
So I will need you to give me a to reach out. I'll say as part of that double natural 20, you are able to reach out hard enough and push your shoulder through to get the pieces. So right now you're kind of like your fingers are bleeding as
Mhm.
you have in your hand kind of the broken hilt, and you have another shard that's thin, and it's just slicing your fingers up real bad as you're kind of like putting your arms through and going, come on. So I'll need you to give me a thieves tool check
Okay.
with disadvantage. It's proficiency plus dexterity.
Not double 20s. It's 3 plus. I can't find my proficiency right now. Oh, there it is. 6 plus dex. 10.
Total of 10.
Yeah.
So you're going and the pain is too much as you just let go of them and they drop and scatter into the dark as your hands are covered in blood and sliced open. There's just this one glimmer of hope scattered into the darkness.
In that crying coma, thinking about, or maybe coming out of it, thinking about those words, a broken promise, and the fact that he was holding the dagger, that specific one. Does that ring any bells?
You could give me an insight check if you'd like to make connections.
Okay. 9.
You mull it over in your head over and over. You're unsure what it could be in the end. You know, you for a moment, probably the only thing that flashes in your mind is that the only thing you can think of is that he's tortured your brother to learn details about your past.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
And as far as you're concerned, you in your mind, you're like, he's tortured him in the last few hours while I've been here.
Yeah. Okay. Can I hear anything? Any words? Anything useful?
Yeah, I'll say give me a quick perception check before we cut back to
Yeah.
to Cal.
12.
12. Okay, so I'd say you notice there is a quiet up above as you hear Thatcher's voice, kind of saying something. Cal, concurrently in the green room, you hear the voice of Thatcher announcing in mumbled tones, "Bring out the entertainment." As the orc comes back and looks at you and says, "What's your name?"
Castle, they call me.
As he leads you out into the main area, you go through a side set of doors and up some steps, and you're
Huron
led
stays
out.
in the green room.
Kieran can come with. Yeah, Kieran, you can go with. He said, and he'll always say that you can come with. Just stay on the outside of the pit.
Of course.
Kieran, you're following. Cal, you're following. You're brought up. Yeah.
While I'm following him, just gonna lay my hand gently on his back and cast Vigilant Blessing, and maybe a little guidance, just for fun.
Okay. You are led out, Cal. You're brought out into this bright chamber where you can see all around this. Yeah, it's very bright at first, and you can see there's bright braziers lit all over the place, torches everywhere. A very large candelabra is above, where you can see there's sort of a mixture of candlelight and some of that Gwyn electrical light in there. And you can see kind of the wires going up the top, leading to some Gwyn generator somewhere. All around the room is filled with people. There are what you presume are syndicate members, probably a good chunk of them here, sitting at tables, drinking, eating. You notice at the head, up on a dais to your right, you notice a long table where you would see in the middle, you would see the form of Thatcher, which you would immediately, just based on what Wiswick has said, recognize, especially once you see that he is wearing a pallid mask, which would immediately be like, okay, that's great. You would see beside him is Warden Borg, sitting there uncomfortably. His guards sitting beside him. A few other individuals sitting on the right of Thatcher. It's hard to see them from here, but they are kind of above and looking down into the pit. The orc leads you to the side of the pit and kind of points his hand down to the pit. He says, "You will, upon entering the pit, I will announce your name and you will bow to Mr. Thatcher and his guests." He steps down into the pit. At the same time, concurrently, Scarlet, you would be looking above and you would start to hear commotion above. You would start to hear footsteps. Sand would start to leak through lines and kind of come down, landing on you, as you would see kind of a shadow come up and standing above the lines. As you would hear the announcers say, "We present to you for your fighting entertainment of a new fighter in the Blighted Row who took down the Goliath in the pits down the street. A true champion from Honduras. Castle." And you'll see.
I step
give,
out confidently.
Yeah.
And draw a sword. Give it a appropriate fencer's salute to
Great.
to. Sorry, I saw that too, and I'm distracted now. It's great podcast content for the later edit. I give a fencer salute to everyone, the people I'm supposed to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can see from here. You can see Thatcher stands up and is looking down at you. As the as there's some clapping. It's not cheers or drunken revelry like outside. There's just sort of more of a strangely like a court vibe here, even though they are thieves. As you see, Thatcher stands up and just looks around and says, Well, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't start the entertainment right now. He seems capable, he seems strong, and his weapons are sharp, as I can see from his flourishing rapier. As he looks to the orc, who kind of like looks down at you, like, "Oh, I promised that this guy would be able to tell him what he's facing first." And he's like, he gives the I mean, you can't really see it. It's just the pallid mask staring back as the guy's like, "Right away, absolutely." He looks down at you, Cal, and just sort of nods to you as best he can. Um, all right, and you see him pull up bars from the stairs of the pit. You see a guard on the other side pull up bars, and you see people start to get out of their seats. The pit is about 20 feet deep. As you can see now, something that wasn't really noticeable before is that there is sort of this grated gate right beneath the dais that can be opened to release whatever's in there. You hear some noises down that tunnel, some snarls, growls, and other sorts of beastliness as Thatcher announces, "Well, we'll keep it quite simple at first. Quite simple. Test his mettle, see what he can do." I know it sounds a bit cliche, but I think we should release the hounds. As the gate starts to sink down, and then you just hear slowly the snapping sound of some sort of hound-like creature. As slowly you see this guy, kind of they're being led out by collars, and they kind of position them in a way as they look to each other and like, all right, and they unsnap the collars, and you see these 3 dire wolves leap forward in. You see they first throw a carcass out, and you watch as they all leap forward towards the carcass. These 3 dire wolves. You see these like bone-like splints coming off of their appendages as they start to ravage this carcass, and they're like pulling the bones apart from each other, fighting over it, scratching at each other until they notice you looking at them as they start to then surround you, ready to pounce. And that is where we'll pick up next time.
Woo!
Can I ask a question really quick?
What?
When Thatcher was saying rapier and Undurus, would I have noticed
You
known that was no?
I'd say give me one last perception check for that, because he would have announced it out to the whole room, and reasonably you may have heard it.
Dirty 20.
So yes, you would have first heard castle, and you're like, "Who the fuck's castle?" Well, not really. You're just like, "I don't care. I'm dying." But then there's a point where you hear the silence in the room, and then you would hear Thatcher's voice, and or you would hear from Endurus, and like, "Endurus, castle," and then you'd say, "His rapier is sharp. Let's see what he can do," and you'd make the connection with that 20, and then Cal is upstairs.
Cool. There is one more thing I would want to do, but I know we already ended, so I can save it for next time.
Okay. All right, folks. Thank you for sticking around with us. We are going to have to discuss our plans for next week, since our good Cal is not going to be around next Monday. So it'd be strange if we autopiloted him through this tense moment. So keep
For a thing that's like very gonna be important that I'm there to roll for at least.
Yeah, like you're gonna need, like, this is not a autopilot mode. This is like you need to use your abilities wisely. So we will keep you updated on what that's going to look like. It's either going to be, of course, a pre-recorded episode while our friend is here, or we will figure something else out where maybe we delay a week, but we will let you know. Keep an eye on our socials, and we will see you whenever that is. If it is pre-recorded, we will be in the chat watching with you, but we will keep you alerted to that. So please keep an eye out for that. Thank you for joining us tonight. And we will see you when we see you. Thanks so much.